Larry Pollock from Underground Performance Gym, a hardcore gym in Ventura in LA County. I'm here today with IFBB Pro Sheila Bleck. She's known for her stage performances. She's a 4-time Tampa Pro Champion and a 5-time Olympia Competitor. She competed from 1993 all the way until 2019. So lots of training experience. Today we're going to talk about her journey through bodybuilding, how she got started, and nutrition. We're going to cover a lot of different subjects. So Sheila, let's start off talking about what got you interested in bodybuilding in the first place.
So going back about 9-10 years old, seeing the images of Rocky, Rambo, the Hulk, Conan, the Barbarian, and even the women that were in that, they portrayed its type of strength, and we didn't have a lot, but I have a lot of respect for my mom. We're a survivalist, and I have a twin, since we both liked it, she would try to, hey girls, this is on TV. And then she'd now go practice a pose or wonder what he's doing, push-ups, see how many we can do. And so we started applying ourselves. We didn't have a lot, but in your imagination, it's your whole world. And then as we got a little bit older, mom got us our first weight bench at age 12. And then also we had Solid Gold on TV. We had those kind of 80s movies with a lot of dance. And so I took modern dance. So I just loved music, dance, and bodybuilding. I loved it all. So that's where it took off. So when you're in dance, you want to form your body so you look prettier in your spandex. And then you want a little muscle because you want to look like that. I saw my first hard body. I was probably about 13, 14. I was partying a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And, when you're young teenagers, your bodies, well, females, our bodies are yo-yoing. Either we're partying, playing too much, or you start getting back into fitness and then kind of, feel better about yourself. But I was tired of the yo-yo already, even at that young age. And I saw this woman on TV, fitness girl, and I called my mom at work and I said, I'm done. I'm going to change my life. I had a low GPA grade. It was humiliating, embarrassing. And so she took me to the bookstore. I bought my first book, and it had Gladys Portuguese on the front of it. Yeah. And then it had, Corey and everybody, and they had like their little, routines and their diets. So I started kind of copying that. Next, I think it's what you would say a hard body. And then I went to my first gym at 15, met Byron Beebe. Later, as training there, I ended up on the powerlifting team. And there was a bodybuilder there, Jake Grabo. He was my first coach. And say goodbye to the nightmares in the past, and this was my new life. This was my new home. And it seemed like it didn't matter what gym you went to or show. It was just this camaraderie, this community back in the day. And it was just, I don't know, it was love. It was real love, so ran with it.
And initially, we talked about this. When you started training, you basically learned from very basics, is what you told me before.
It was the basics. I did all my floor work, floor routines. Some people are not born later. So in our time, we had fitness shows all the time. So we had the ones with Sean Ray, and I can't remember everybody that would play, like Tony Knight. And so we'd follow those. I kind of copy those little workouts, right? 3 sets of this by 8 reps. It was nothing big, but it was big for me at the time. And then doing powerlifting, Mondays was bench and shoulders. Wednesday was squats. And then Fridays would be deadlifts. So those were those main compound movements. And then it was later in life kind of bringing in the smaller movements, which I hated because it burned. And so these are the different levels as you're learning, as you're getting older. By the time I graduated from high school, I started prepping for my first show for the 1993 Bill Pro Classic in Medford, Oregon. So learning through the burn. And I think every time we apply ourselves, we remember what it felt like before, then we learn to go a little bit deeper. And then we make that next show, that next mark, and we're like, oh, I could have gone a little deeper, because you see this woman that she was a little bit harder than you. Age does play a role, because you're not going to have that grainy look at 20 years old. You're just not, but you can have that foundation, And so I remember as a show I would do when I got older, I'd look at woman's physique girl going, oh, I'm getting closer. So, I just, but the little things, those little workouts build up to bigger and bigger and bigger, and then you learn to apply it and you dig deeper and learn to deal with the discipline of that type of workout. And you know what I mean? So
It's
anyway, so
it's interesting you mentioned you had a powerlifting background,
mhm,
which I didn't know about.
yeah, I know.
And I know back when I started, which was a little before you started, heavy lifting was really a big thing in the gym. I mean, even people that didn't compete in powerlifting, they still did the basics, heavy squats, bench. Mostly we had free weights to train with. We didn't have so many machines like you do
Mm-mm.
today. And do you think that helped build like your foundation?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, because if you're thinking of it when you're grabbing hammer strength, you're not embracing your legs, you're not embracing your core, you're not locking everything and start stable. You know, you have all these muscles going on at the same time. Leg press, yeah, you're kind of locked in, but for that full range of motion, getting things set up on your traps and having that perfect posture, guiding down with the glutes and the hamstrings, your legs pushing through the heels. You're having all these mechanics going on at the same time. And the same thing with the deadlifts. It may seem like, oh, it's a leg workout, it's a hamstring workout, it's a back workout. It's all of it. It's not one thing. You have
Right.
everything working and locking in. And what I loved about so much, you could be so depressed, so angry. You go to the gym, you leave it outside, you're with your buddy. Maybe you're even by yourself. It's just your rock music. You lock in, flesh meets iron. It's all you and that iron, and nothing matters. It's amazing escape. And I think that's why I become so addicted for a lot of us. It wasn't about the trophy. The trophy was just the stage for me. The entire time, my entire career, it was just opportunity. But this, and not saying that working out every day is an opportunity, it's a choice, but it's also a reaction for me. I gotta
I,
go.
I can say for myself, training has gotten me through all of the hardest things that I've ever had to deal with. Because no matter what I'm dealing with, work, stress, relationship, whatever it is,
All of it.
I go to the gym and somehow I end up walking out of there feeling better than when I walked in.
It was it's like this. It's kind of like I think I heard like this man from the military saying, if you wake up every morning, make your bed, everything else seems to fall into place. So it was like that for me. I got up, make my bed, take care of me, grab my food, and I head out that door, hit that workout. That's a structured plan. And if you can stick to that and you learn to do that, even though there's something bothering you, upsetting you, guess what, folks? We got something bothering us and upsetting us every day. And I feel like that when we start applying ourselves to these things, we start making ourselves very important. This workout's important. My health is important. My sanity is important. I think every human is walking on this line of insanity and sanity. So it's really our responsibility. And, some people want to ski. Great. Some people are bike racers. They're boxers. I wish for every human have their outlet, whether it's art, whatever your outlet is. And so, and I don't know, it's unfortunate or fortunate, but I needed dance. I needed the fighting skills and bodybuilding and powerlifting. I needed it all. I don't know if I needed it, but I was in love with it all. Still am. I mean, I'm 49, and so I started my journey 14, 15. The love never left. You know what I'm saying? It's amazing to have that kind of relationship. We're definitely married to the lifestyle.
Yeah, that's interesting you mentioned that because I've seen a lot of people over the years, even top competitors that, they were hardcore back in the day and today they don't even train anymore. For me, I can't even imagine not. I just killed my legs yesterday, like, at 57 years old. I'm like, why am I killing my legs like this? Because it's something I enjoy doing.
It's you and you and you.
Yep.
It's there's a three personality that me and myself and I think we got this full. I'm busy with me and myself and I. We've got a big conversation going on here. So, um, I love the burn too. I like the feeling of my muscles being hard, engaging. Like you're absolutely 1000% in control. I've never had an ego where I put so much weight on the bar that my back's going to go out or my knees are going to go out. I wasn't like that. I never, people want to look at you and go, I could play out lifter. Go for it. Go for it. Because I'm going to be out this till I'm 80. I'm not doing this to impress you or make a number. And I didn't do it to be a Miss Olympia. What's interesting is that people say, Sheila, did you always want to compete? Honestly, I was almost pressured. I didn't want to go. I did not want to put on a bikini. And my workout partner, she goes, oh, trust me, once you get that first eight pack, you're definitely going up on stage. Yeah, it really, it became the journey. I was in love with the journey. I didn't ever feel like I was the smartest kid in class. I wasn't. And I needed extra attention for me to absorb information and retain it and apply it. I was severely ADD and I still am. But I think these things help us, it helps us focus and be in the present.
Right.
It really helps you be present. And dance is amazing because you have to study the music, you have to understand movement, and then you're synchronizing it, and then you're doing all these things. And I think that's why I loved it so much because it felt like it was like a brain massage. It's like doing math. It's massaging. I'm not great at it, but it's what I can do is massaging and healing. We're doing math all the time when we're working out. So, anyway, it is a self healing, gratification. It's all of that. So I can't imagine retiring going, okay, I'm putting up my weights and doing nothing. My body would probably go through withdrawals or a shock and probably severe depression, excuse me.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I have to get my workouts in, and if I don't, I just feel like things aren't functioning
It's the structure.
properly.
Yeah, it feels awkward, and I'm missing out that connection. The next is our nutrition. That's another thing that I think helps people stay on top as well as their energy levels. This fatigue or okay. So let's go into that because that's something that people say this. Oh, now I have a reason to diet. I'm getting ready for a show.
Hmm.
Okay, so I never give the stage that much credit. I do this for me first, so it's with me forever. The stage again is opportunity. That's a good way of challenging yourself. Great if you get awarded, great if you're winning, great if you make it. And I had no idea that I was going to go as far as I did. No idea. And I knew by the time I went pro, I was like, I definitely need a partner, which was like a coach. And that's when I, talked to John Romano and Dave Palumbo and why I chose these two men, because I felt like they understood the most when it came down to women and their metabolisms. I trusted them the most. And here's like another, we're talking about earlier, a sensitive topic is the drug aspect. So what I loved most about my first 10 years of my journey, nobody ever talked about it. It was all nutrition and training. Supplementation, be sure you're doing this, be sure you're taking your vitamins, be sure you're taking your aminos. Okay. So I did. It was so important. And then when you start challenging yourself in these different shows and you start going higher and higher and you're realizing, okay, this is the next step. But what I loved about Dave and Romano, they talked about diet first. Very important. And so what I see today is everybody going right onto the drugs. Let's get ready for a show. And then after the show, they wean off and then, and then there's, where'd you go?
Yeah, something you
Where'd you go?
mentioned is the journey that really what it's about. For a lot of people, they want, especially today, they want to be Insta famous. They do it for their Instagram or YouTube or whatever thing, and they want to compete just so they can, say they did it.
Yeah.
But they don't.
There's no.
They don't enjoy the process.
Mm-mm.
And for me, it was always the process. Getting on stage was like, okay, I just get to show off my hard work. But I actually liked contest preps. I liked
Yeah.
being on a strict regimen.
I know you probably didn't get as full as some of us did in the off season. I was talking to Stephanie about it because I told her, I said, don't think I was always just 15 pounds over my competition weight. When I was younger, I'd be definitely about 30, 35. I was a mill worker. So yeah, I ate a lot and we're pulling lumber. We're on chop saws. I mean, Sherry and I were heister drivers. We did hardcore work for 15 years. And so, but I always made it to the gym. Even if it was only 3 days a week or 4 days a week, I made it to the gym. And could not wait to find a show to start prepping. And the first 10 pounds that go, that side chest is looking bigger and better and harder. Like, okay, it's working. And then all of a sudden, 6 weeks in, my two head abs are coming out great. So you're trying harder and harder. So I love the sculpting. You'd be tired, snoring, napping. We all go through it. Excuse me. And you have a bad day here and there. And then you rest up, you go back at it. Everybody has, challenges during their process, but I friggin' loved it. And when it came to game day, especially during our time, the people that would show up, I remember 20 people came from Bear Bill's gym showing up to my show. There used to be so much support. And it felt like it wasn't just you up there, it was you and your team. your people that helped you. Those were my elders. They created me. Dave Cheek, Jake Grabo, Byron Beebe, all of them, they created me. You know, Mark Crawford. These are names you guys don't know, but these people exist. And they gave me a life when I didn't have a dad, I didn't have a grandpa, I didn't have an uncle. You know, no, hey, kids, sit on my lap. We can make it better. No, 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 no. It was not like that in my life. But those guys saw potential in me when I just thought I was just an uneducated kid.
I can say I had a similar experience. I just happened to land in a gym full of pro bodybuilders, and they became my workout partners, and they were the people I looked up to. And
The feeling is so amazing. That kind of feeling, I can't.
I can tell you, I know the reason that they accepted me into, being able to train with them is because I really worked hard, and they saw that.
The
And I think they
discipline, the
saw,
dedication.
that I was serious about what I was doing. And I'm sure it was the same with you. The people, they saw potential in you, and they saw that you were serious. You weren't messing around.
Mm-mm.
Today, like kids today nowadays, they're clueless. They don't know what they want to do.
They're working out and they look at their cell phones. We didn't have that. If I look down, it's because I had a magazine and it had the workout. It was laid out to Leela Brada. There was Sean Ray. There was probably, Laura Cravell, Corey, Linda Murray. Somebody was my workout partner that day, and I'm following her program. And that's the thing that I missed today was that back then, they would do photography on all these athletes or the pro athletes. And they didn't just, have these stupid interviews with them. They were like, what are you eating? What could you give somebody that's a viewer? I'm sure they were all sponsored me and paid for the time, whatever, but it's great. But for us, it was everything. It was a journal. And it was part of like, okay, that's my goal. I mean, sure, you're going to have Ronnie Coleman or Lee Haney with their backs this wide, but you're looking at their workout. And kind of, it was, to me, fat full of information. And again, like, oh, but they didn't talk about PEDs and that. It wasn't important to me. It wasn't important to me. What was important to me, can I show up to the gym 5 days a week? Can I follow my 5-6 meal plan? Can I do this and go to work and have my life? Yes. That was what was important to me, and yeah.
I remember as a teenager, I'd get the magazine in the mail,
Mm-hmm.
and I would read it cover to cover.
Mm-hmm.
I would stay up the entire night reading even the ads
Yeah.
and trying to figure out like this supplement, like, I had to examine it, what it was for, trying to figure out, how to do this thing better.
They would play tricks on me at Better Bill's gym, like, hey, Sheila, try this. You guys, I'm telling you, the protein powders we have today, amazing. Because the first one I had was an egg and milk, and it looked chalky. Hey, Sheila, and it was a Bill Pearl egg and milk. Oh, God. I'm on, and the guys are laughing, just chug it. No. Then it was the Joe Weider shit. Oh, my God. And then I will never forget this when Twin Lab came out with Amino Fuel, and you drink it. It was this lime. It tastes like bile. So I think today with these kind of great supplements that we have now, it makes it very.
Oh, people, they don't even know how easy they have it. I mean, my first contest prep, it was red snapper, lettuce, and distilled water for 6 weeks.
And that's old school.
Yeah, that's all I ate for 6 weeks.
I used to eat red snapper. Now it's catfish in my life, but red snapper, God, the bones, and it was fishy. I had a hard time with it, but I ate it.
I mean, that's what we knew.
Yeah, exactly. That is what we knew.
But it worked.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, probably there's better nutrition ways that we know we've learned over the years.
Yeah.
But back then, I mean, we got shredded.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think as I was getting older, that's when I was metabolisms were changing. And this is what I think you and I were talking about yesterday. For those people, a lot of people that know me, I follow more of a ketogenic diet regimen, but it's get on my digestive system. And I don't bloat. I don't put on weight. I stay the same all the time. And that's what makes me happy. I have a twin, and she had that esophagus issue. And she had a lot of scar tissue. So she always had to get her throat stretched. And this has been going on for many years. And it's very suffering. And we had to try and figure out if there's other foods that are causing inflammation. And so when I moved back home, and Sherry's like, screw it, I'm going to start kind of following my twin's diet. All of a sudden, she's dropping weight. She hasn't seen a doctor yet but for her throat. So I do believe that certain foods or certain diet styles, I mean, just say styles, because everybody has things that are going to work for them. But for my sister and I, fish, sometimes chicken. She does more chicken thighs because it has the lubrication to get down her throat. I turned on to macadamia nut oil from Dave Palumbo, so that helps her and I both have, lubrication. It just seems that that has been a subject that a lot of athletes don't talk about or project out there, and they should, because I've come across like athletes going, man, my food's going down very slow, Sheila. Salt your food, hydrate as much as you can. I use a lot of tea with stevia to kind of help lubricate. Ugh. But anyways, if I haven't eaten rice in years. It got so launched and stuck, and it's not what do you call it? It's weird. I think my grandma, before she died, she explained to me, she goes, honey, I think you might have that herniated flap. So sometimes it kind of sticks there and it just balls. Either you have to regurgitate, get it up, or I always have to hold up my arms and relax my xiphoid, and the food will go down. So sometimes it might be a lot of stress, or for, the way we're squatting. I don't know. I don't know when it started really developing hardcore on me, but my twin and I have been very aware of it in the last, probably in our mid 30s to now. And so that's why we followed the keto diet. And I would say it's an optimal keto diet, the way Palumbo would put it, because there's a lot of greens and oils, monounsaturated oils with your clean proteins and a lot of greens. And that's how we eat.
Well,
So
obviously it's working for you.
yeah, it does. I don't ever feel funny. And don't think I don't eat a carb here and there. I will, and he's the one that told me, Sheila, you need to have that to increase your insulin, to kick in the T3, your normal hormones. Oh, okay. I gotta remember that. But, so I love oatmeal. I love cream of rice. So I'll do it once in a while. Yeah. But, every week I do. Grab some grapefruit, little things like that. I'm just not, my twin and I just don't crave it. We don't go, oh, I gotta have potatoes. I gotta have rice. I gotta have that. It's not like that for us. We gotta have that steak. That's us. I want that salmon. Give it to me. So we're the opposite. But anyways, those are great building blocks when you are trying to build up quality lean muscle tissue when you want to be a bodybuilder.
But I think it's for me at least. I think it's part of how we were raised
Yeah.
back then. I mean, I didn't eat junk food when I was a kid growing up, so I don't crave it. It's never been a real thing for me.
We were poor, and my mom didn't really pay attention a lot, so we had poor quality food. Okay. And when we could actually have allowance and whatnot, we weren't around healthy eating. My mom could probably go for hours without eating back in the day. She read her books. She was kind of hippie like,
Right.
When she ate just chicken leg, green beans, potatoes, and she's back to her book. And she and I are like, man, I could eat everything, ding dongs, whatever. I got into everything. Okay. So you can trust me. And even if I knew I'd get the crap beat out of me, she didn't do it. We had a lot of babysitters, but I got into everything. And I didn't even steal it because I didn't know when I was going to eat next. So I stole food.
So then what got you to switch from craving that stuff to not?
It's crazy how our mindset works, but it emotionally hurt so bad that I wasn't trying hard enough. I was around the wrong crowd. We're a small town, so everything's just fast food. Everything is crap at the schools, just crap, crap, crap. And my sister and I were never small, I swear. We were probably about 5'5", 5'6" by the time we were sixth grade, seventh grade. So we're already pretty tall, ahead of everybody else. But we're called husky and brawny. And just like I said, I saw that lady on TV, and when I grabbed that book, it was like, okay, I want to understand food. And I said, Mom, we don't want to do granola bars anymore during, for when we come home for snacks. She goes, okay, which kids like? We go, I don't know. She started making us tuna fish salad and shrimp cocktails. Just doing that alone was, Sharon and I weren't craving we wanted seafood. And when we did that, Sharon and I dropped like 8 pounds quick. And that's fat. That's a lot of weight for a kid. So we
Right.
dropped it. And also we had energy. Our grades went up. We're focusing better. Yeah. So sugar was like an alien. I mean, it was just a nightmare for Sharon and I. Even to this day, I honestly have not touched sugar since 2019. And it was after the Tampa Pro, I had some, and it was a bad idea. But it's just not something we crave either. We really crave seafood and steak. That's our food. But I think when you detox your brain, your receptors and everything, when you detox yourself like that and you start eating what your body needs, that's what you're naturally going to crave. So picture yourself on an island. I would do that. Picture yourself on an island. There is no candy bars, guys. So picture that. What are you going to go for? Your fish. You're going to go for the things that you need, So that's how I changed my mind.
Plus, how it makes you feel better.
Yeah.
I know for myself, I have Crohn's, and I cannot eat anything gluten. I can't eat sugary food. And I don't even want that stuff because I know if I do eat that, I'm going to pay for it. So
Yeah.
it's just not even worth it. It's not something I even want. It's
Yeah,
not something that
I don't want to
interests me.
gurgle. I don't want to be chasing the toilet.
Mm.
Um, that's the other thing that, my sister are kind of hyper intense people. So we can make ourselves so nervous that we're constantly going to the bathroom. And when her and I know that we're like that, we change our diet again. We have to dry it up. Like what I mean is that if I love lettuce and green beans and all that, I have to back off because it's crazy what happens to me. So I have to kind of go a little bit drier.
I've noticed and actually learned in recent years that I don't know if this is more in bodybuilding than in the general public, but more and more people are having digestive disorders that, are in bodybuilding
Hmm.
and that are talking about it. I think before maybe people just didn't talk about it.
It didn't start affecting me until, okay, I don't want to get ugly or personal, but this is happening to anybody else. It's happening to me. So my vegetables are actually in the stool. If I take them out and I add like, almond butter and I have a steak or whatever, I'm not gonna say whatever, steak, fish, I get it more dry, it goes away. So I've eaten vegetables so much that all of a sudden, and I was talking to a girlfriend of mine, I'm not gonna say her name, but she's all, hmm. So I've been asked if I had Crohn's, and instead, when I was stressing out so bad after COVID and all that stuff, like I had a lot of loss, and my emotions were just getting worse and worse. And no matter what I did, no matter how much I worked out, I was internalizing so much heartache and pain. It was like I was causing this nerves, this panic, constant. And next year, I'm constantly going to the bathroom, and it wouldn't stop. And it was so bad that it was like I thought I was sick, but I wasn't sick. And if anything, I ate, I was back on the toilet, it was like heaving. So I'm texting my mom. I said, "Mom, you're gonna have to take me to the hospital. Something's very, very, very wrong." Couldn't find nothing wrong with me. I said, "Lady, I am afraid to leave your office." And thank God we were only like 5 minutes away from the house. So for like 3 days, I was housebound because I was afraid to move. Every time now I get nervous, I'm looking at a toilet. So I don't know. It could be an age thing. Just I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But when I get back, because I have an appointment with my doctor, Dr. Stephanie Sanderson. She's been really great with Cher and I. She's like, "We can take a look at this. We can take a look at that." I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "But we're not seeing anything. We're not seeing anything."
Well, I
It's
can tell you
crazy.
with myself, I knew something was wrong, but it took them a long time to diagnose me.
It's almost like this. It's like rare or something. They're used to something being like right there, like doctors don't know a lot about food. You know what I'm saying? That they're right on modern medicine. Are you bleeding? Let me sew that up. Go. And their bedside manners are horrendous. So it's almost like we find a really good naturopathic, and I'm trying to find one because they seem to get to the root with, foods and digestive system and, bowel movements and all that. They seem to be more into that. The rest of the doctors, I mean, they'll sit there and scope us, but they don't see something right away. They're like, "I don't know what to do here."
Well, I actually got lucky and I've had a couple good endocrinologists
Oh, oh,
recently,
okay. Yeah, that
but
helps.
my GP, my first endocrinologist said to me, I think you have Crohn's. And I was in denial. I'm like, I don't have that. Like, I can squat 600 pounds. There's no
Right.
way I have Crohn's. But then he ran some blood work, and sure enough, I did. And, but honestly, what really got it under control was really, really digging into my nutrition.
What's
And
your diet like now for it?
um, I can't eat anything gluten. Like I said,
Hmm.
sugary foods are
But
definitely.
your proteins, you're okay with pretty much all proteins,
So there was actually a time when I was eating 20 egg whites a day,
right?
um, just for breakfast.
Hmm.
And I did that for years and years and years. And then I think I developed a food allergy to egg whites where I couldn't even eat them at all because it'd send me straight to the toilet. And then I stopped eating them for probably about a year.
Hmm.
And now I can eat them, but I don't eat 20.
Right.
I'll eat 10,
Moderate.
and I don't do it every day, and I don't do it all the time.
Hmm.
So for me, really it's a lot of chicken and rice and vegetables, and that's pretty
So
much what
you're
I
okay with
eat.
rice.
Rice saves me.
Interesting. So it wouldn't be like jasmine, more like a brown because it has a
Nope, I
higher
have to
gluten.
eat sushi rice.
What is that?
Plain white rice, sticky rice.
say that, and there gluten in that, or is it just high
No,
glycemic? It's lower, so it's just really high glycemic.
it
Works
just
for
is
somebody like you.
really easy to digest.
Okay, for you,
It's
okay.
easy to digest, and if I eat straight protein without
Something,
something, it goes right through me.
got it.
Which
So
is,
it's a nice binder for you.
yeah, it literally holds the things together.
Yeah, got it.
And besides that, my metabolism is so insanely fast.
Right.
If I miss 2 meals, I lose 2 pounds.
If I miss, actually, no, I don't miss a meal. I don't dare to miss a meal. And this is also why I drink aminos. It kind of keeps my blood sugar levels up. And because I don't do rices and a lot of grains, and of course I do, not to give you some free public, promotion here, Dave, but I take Dave Palumbo's Fiberlize religiously. Sometimes I'll do 2 scoops, sometimes just 1. It depends on how long I'm going at it that day and how dry my diet might have been. But I have to mix up my proteins, otherwise something does kind of gurgly starts happening. So, because I love seafood, but I have to change it. I have to throw in the red meat. And then I feel it's weird. It's like I feel, oh, okay, I needed that. I feel good because something. It's like this. It's almost like something swimming in my gut. I don't know if that makes sense. It's yeah. It's just kind of an uncomfortable feeling, and I just feel like gassy or whatever. So, and I hate it. I like to feel dry. So, and I know that people probably don't eat pork. Oh my gosh, da, da, da. Well, sometimes I'll grab the lean part and I'll grab that and I'll mix it with my egg whites. It's a binder for me because otherwise I'm not solid. So this way I know I need to get further checked also because I don't know what's been happening. My doctor said because I've dealt with so many losses, and then the COVID happened, I lost my apartment and coming here. I mean, it's just been a disaster. She thinks I'd internalized so much that I'm probably caused my own digestive mess up. And I said it makes sense because I never went through this extreme, but it was a lot.
Well, I could tell you, like, I caused my Crohn's.
Okay.
I know this.
Okay.
And I'll tell you how I did it. And I've spoke about this before.
Okay.
I was in the process of opening a new gym back in end of 2013. It took forever to sign the lease. Finally, we got the lease signed 30 days before New Year's. And I had 30 days to move all the equipment, flooring, everything, get that entire gym set up and running in 30 days. So I took Adderall to stay up.
Right.
And I literally stayed up almost 30 days straight, around the clock, working, moving equipment, setting up the gym, doing everything. And we did get open January 1st. And right after that, I went right back to training and boom, it hit me.
Wow.
And I know it was that.
Feel a lot of stress. Yeah. It's
because
I just put on our organs.
During that 30 days, my diet went to crap. I wasn't sleeping. And I used, like I said, Adderall to stay awake. Right. So I'm pretty sure I brought that on myself.
Sorry, I'm gonna spit on you. Yeah, I can imagine that.
And now I've learned, like, in order to keep it controlled, I have to get my sleep.
Yes.
And sleep.
I'm a napper and I'm a sleeper, by gosh, and I bless all you guys that are in relationships, whatnot, but I'm a single for 9 years, and there's been a reason for that. I mean, I tried, so probably 7 years. I tried, but from losses and things, my goals, and the pressure of life, and just from the change, that I want to change, and go into other careers, I really need to be left alone. And once I made that, I realized, I don't want to hang out with anybody. I don't want to be responsible for somebody's emotion. I need a nap. I need a fucking nap. And so when I wake up and then I feel like I take on the world, and then I'm happy to go home, and I'm one of these junkies. I'm a horror story or homicide. So I need to hide from about 10 to midnight, and I crash out by myself. I don't have to explain anything. So I need my sleep. I need that space. And it seems like when I made that choice, I've been very happy the last year. I mean, I'm considering the fact that I had a hip replacement and all that, and there's been some loss of stuff, but from all these great decisions I've been making for myself, it is okay, Sheila, that you don't want to have a mate in your life. It's okay. You want to have just friends and athletes and patients. And I just was like, I never felt so. And then, like I'm happy. Like my spirit just kind of went, yeah, very stable.
Well, I think a lot of people don't realize we get so focused on work and whatever stresses in life there are that we neglect our basic health,
Yeah.
which is our sleep and our nutrition and our exercise. And then, I learned this a long time ago. I actually started a marketing job and I was promoted to it as a marketing manager. And I thought to myself, working out is great and everything, but I really need to focus on this job. So the first time in my life ever, I stopped training and just worked literally 7 days a week, 18 hours a day. Of course, my nutrition wasn't that great because I wasn't training, and somehow training and nutrition just seems to go together.
Mm-hmm.
And after about 5 months of that, I felt horrible. I had lost about 25 pounds of muscle. And one day I looked in the mirror and I'm like, the first time in my life I had belly fat. And I was like, what is this? What did I do? And I was actually mediocre as a manager at that point. I wasn't even doing that great with as hard as I was working.
That's my question. Okay.
I went back to the gym, got back on my program, got better at my job, worked less hours, and ended up being one of the top managers in the company for like 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Because I was able to balance it out. But I needed to figure out that, if without my sleep, my nutrition, and my training, I just don't function properly. So as many hours as I was putting in, I was not being productive with those hours.
Right.
So
I'd have been more stressed out. I don't know how you focused. Training keeps me focused, and I know I could probably be a lot more focused. But if I didn't have that, I
yeah,
have no idea. I don't know how to live life without the gym. Okay, I've been in it. I had a shed I trained at in 12, 13, 14 years old, went in my first gym at 15. So in a way, I don't know how to live my life without it.
Right.
And I've had abusive relationships where they force you not to, destroy your clothes, destroy your trophies, kick your car, charge you at a gym. So when it's like, because I was fighting for what I loved, and so I'm sorry, that's most of my experiences,
Wow.
I experienced that kind of stuff. So, I had rather to have night gym life, my cooking time, my eating time, that's so therapeutic for me. My dance, my yoga, I need all those things. And I just can't see, if I didn't have that, I feel like I wouldn't be good at any other job I did,
Right.
And so when somebody's forcing you not to do that and that's taking half of you away from you. That's so unfair. Why do you have to give up an hour training and nice nutrition just to succeed something else? It's BS.
That sounds like you picked the wrong person.
Make that plural. I can give probably two guys that were probably just really good people. And one of them, two boyfriends passed away, but one that survived, and he known me since I was 26 years old. He still calls me and checks up on me. We're like the best of friends. It's just that I just wasn't the marrying type. I didn't want to be married and I didn't want kids. And it's not that I don't like kids. It's just because I didn't think I could afford one. You guys, when you are a little girl and you're told you're not wanted, it's a horrible feeling. So I have things that bother me. So everything in my life, I want to choose multiple people because I want to be able to love everybody. And I want to be told that I can't. So I love all my girlfriends. I love every athlete that's hired me. I love my coaches. I love my sister, my mom. So don't tell me to pick and choose. And
Right.
so that's what I've always kind of came across. And I was also afraid if I got married, had kids, that I wouldn't have all these friends. So I made my decision. I get to fly anytime I want. I'm not hurting anybody. So I'm not saying that maybe I won't eventually, but they would have to be somebody that loves their business, loves their work, and would want a companion to appreciate the fact they need their time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you meet in the middle. It's really hard. It's not all out there. It really isn't. Well, not. And the thing is, since I'm always behind something, nobody can really meet me. So,
I've figured out for myself that because I'm so committed to my training and everything, I can't date someone who isn't in this lifestyle because they just will not understand it.
mm-mm.
I remember an ex telling me, why do you have to go to the gym today? Why can't we just stay home and just watch TV?
Oh,
And it's like a Saturday morning, and I'm like,
that's the best time to be in the gym is the weekends. Nobody's there.
I'm like, you can come to the gym with me.
Yeah. Oh, and there's that. Exactly.
And they're like, well, I don't feel like going. I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you originally liked me because I went to the gym, and now you don't want me to go to the gym.
Mhm.
It's it's
Mhm.
just something that I'm always going to do.
Yeah, I'm not a boring person. I'm not. I like a lot of things. BMX riding. If you want to go roller skating, I'm gonna put my knee pads on. Let's go. So my sister and I are both very playful people. So if you say, "Hey guys, we're gonna go do this," we'll go. I'll screw the nap. I'll even skip a nap just to go do something fun. But
Right.
we're not. If I'm gonna watch a movie, it's because I'm dead tired, and this is me.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'll watch movies, but
Yeah, but I'm not gonna skip a workout for it.
my best time to watch a movie is after I just killed myself in the gym,
Right.
and then I want to chill out and watch a movie.
That's when we do it. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
not not in the middle of the day.
Although I'm very guilty of this. So when I would get ready for shows, because I loved cardio, and I was explaining this to him, it's slow cardio. I wouldn't take off running or anything like that, but put on my hoodie. Well, first the headset, hoodie, got my phone, put on my movie, ride my bike. All right, I'd be so lost in it. And one of the top movies I'll never forget. I was getting ready for the Olympia in 2011. Powerhouse Gym off of Florida Avenue. It's an old school gym, so it's 24-hour, very old school. I go in there, nobody's there. It's midnight, and I'm watching The Collector. I don't know if you guys ever watched it.
Hmm.
Awesome. So I'm stuck on that stairmaster going, I don't want to go to the bathroom yet. Oh, this is awesome. Oh, push pause, run to the bathroom, come back. My ass was sore. I was on it for over an hour. My ass was sore for like 2 days, but I was like, yes, that was awesome. So that's when I got hooked, other than just listening to my music and choreographing on my cardio. I started watching cool horror movies, homicide, anything that distracts me. Like even sometimes I'll be feeling weird. I gotta feel weird. Keep watching. I'm feeling really weird, but I'm gonna keep watching. So those were like that helped me, survive the hour cardio.
Not to switch gears, but something that you're really known for is your excellent posing skills
Right.
and your presentation.
Yeah.
You're
I want to clarify this to everybody. I was never in gymnast. I was never in gymnastics. And anytime somebody hits me, oh, you must have been in gymnastics. I wasn't. You cannot put me in a leotard. My mom was not made of money. So what I did, my sister and I did, we would watch Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris. We got in the backyard and we practiced on the kicks. And of course, Jean Claude didn't really come around in our vision until later on, but we're working on all their stretching stuff. Okay, so you have to understand that modern dance, ballet, martial arts, it has an acrobat to it, a little bit of gymnastics to it. So her and I drilled each other. I'm fortunate I had a twin that loved to do this, So we would practice backslamming. I know it sounds horrible, but we practiced backslamming, how high we could kick, roundhouse, jump kicks. And then it's like, hey, if we can do that, let's do a cartwheel. Let's do a somersault. Somersault, cartwheel, hick. We would just create this stuff. That's creating a routine. It started off with fighting skills. Okay.
interesting.
Uh-huh. And then Sherry's like, okay, I'm gonna jab, jab, boom, boom, cartwheel, roll, we're Bruce Lee. Okay, it was stuff like that. But then we go around the neighborhood. Who are we going to pick a fight with? We lived in Empire. If you've never heard of Empire, which is the outskirts of Coos Bay, Oregon, a little slummy, you're going to find a fight. And they're going to take off running, which sure enough, we're awesome runners. Get out of here fast. So that's where it started. And then it was seeing Solid Gold. And I'm watching this lady and I'm like, oh, she's pretty. Maybe I should behave. And then I saw my first dance teacher and she was really pretty. I need to behave. Again, there's no dad, okay? There's nobody to kind of put things in perspective for my sister and I.
Hmm.
You're around a lot of babysitters, you're around a lot of boys, all right? So they were always teaching us, what are you gonna do when I come at you? So she and I were constantly on the defense. So trust me, I wanted something pretty. I really did. But we weren't around enough of it.
Hmm.
Anyway, so I found beauty. And then I would try to kind of implement it in my life. And then I had my first boyfriend, I was about 12, and he would kind of teach me things. He listened to everything I had to tell him. He was a really good boyfriend, but he was a little older. And he kind of, even when we broke up, he would still check on me and make sure I was okay. So I would do dances in front of him. Ah, that looks good. That's good. That's good. So he was bringing out the femininity in me, and that it was okay. It didn't make you a pussy. It was just, you have to understand the mentality that I was around at that age. So it's a very immature, rough, uneducated, quick with the fist rather than words. No words were ever said. It was just attack, and then take off running. It was just weird time, you know?
Mhm.
So yeah. So that's when in the sport, I didn't look at it that bodybuilding was about being a badass. It was about getting yourself under control.
And
So
so
with martial
how
arts.
did the
Oh,
posing
okay. So when I would go to the gym, the magazines, like I was mentioning, I would grab, photos of, you know, like what we're all doing to now. Leila Brada, Bob Paris, there'd be Sean Ray, Kevin Leverone. I would grab like, some images of Diana, but it would also be other images, that made my mind think Laura Cavell. There's some other women too. Their names aren't popping right off the bat, but I lay it out. Okay. And so I'd be in one pose and I transition to the next pose and then I transition to another one. I would come down. And because I was in dance, I knew about body awareness and your alignment and where your feet need to be for balance. So it looked clean and didn't look clunky and forced. So I see a lot of people trying to copy a movement. And by the time they get to the stage, because they didn't really properly rehearse it, or they had a opposing coach and it wasn't displayed and taught to them properly, where they're supposed to be feeling their gravity and their balance. But anyways, this is what I was practicing on. And I didn't know that it was going to be something special because at the time, it was important that everybody did it. If you saw any interview from Leila Brada, what do you talk about? What do you bring to the stage? Oh, it's gonna be a better routine this year than last year. I'm like, oh, it was so important. It was part of your score. Okay, you are representing the stage. You're representing the MPC and IFBB. You're representing the history of this sport. So today, and even during my era, I was like, what's going on? I felt like I was the only one creating, and then I get annihilated and crucified for it. Oh, Sheila, she's like acting like the Circus Olay. It's the only reason why she's winning. I'm like, what? I'm definitely no Circus Soleil person, but no, I am showcasing, I'm bringing in theater because we're no longer in the prejudge. It's called a show. It's theater. And this is me, and this is how I'm showcasing my work. So you get to learn a little bit of Sheila Bleck, my personality. So when people would hire me, I don't give them my routines. I will start them off on quarter turns, mandatory, so I can see how they're moving. And then I'll say, give me your favorite poses. What would you like in that routine? Give me your song. Now I'm seeing what their personality is. So now I'm writing their routine for them. That's about them, not me. But I'm gonna show them how to do it from ground up. Nothing starts from the top. Everything's ground up.
interesting?
So there they go. I
Yeah,
ran off of
so
that.
when I started, presentation was a big deal, and I remember like my first bodybuilding coach, Mike Sable, he taught me posing, and I won't say I was really good at it, but I competed against Sean Ray when I was 18 years old, and he was a great poser because he learned from John Brown. And after seeing him, not only was I impressed by his physique, but how good his posing was,
Right, it's clean.
I really started almost emulating it. Uh, Not, I wouldn't say I'd copy everything he did, but I would
It was
the
it was the
trans.
blueprint. It's like
Yep.
this. I tell people it's a blueprint. You don't ever want to copy another artist, but do thank them for inspiring you to take a movement and kind of apply it to yourself, and you kind of create something within that movement. But we're all going to look a little bit different because we're structured differently.
Right. But
You know?
just the
Yeah.
transitions and the way he did it, I started really practicing, and it became as part of my contest prep.
Hmm.
I would do an hour of posing after every workout. It It was just normal. It was
Yes.
normal to do
It-
an hour of posing, and I mean to this day, if I'm prepping somebody for a show right after we train, we pose.
yep.
Uh, Sometimes for an hour.
Yeah. When I got older, nobody posed with me. Nobody would pose with me. I was a loner in my world. When I was growing up into it, when I had Jake's like, downstairs Saturday, that guy would put me through an hour. My back was always sore. And hear me out. So this is how dedicated I was with posing myself. I'm working out in North Douglas Fir. It's a lumber mill. I was in it when I was 19 years old. I lived at 500 population, Drain, Oregon, up Smith Road, and I lived in a shack. It was my place. Every 2 weeks I get paid. I call him from the payphone at the tavern, put my 35 cents in. Hey Jake, I'm coming home. All right, see you at the gym. I'm gonna drill you. I drive an hour and a half after a whole week of 60 hours of week of working in a lumber mill. Jump in that car. haul ass to his gym. He'd drill me for an hour, get in the car, drive another half hour to my parents and crash out, wake back up, get my ass and head back to Drain, Oregon, get my ass back in the dock. I was dedicated. So I take it extremely personal when it comes to showcasing your craft. I have been so insulted by a lot of people that have wasted my time hiring me for prep, hiring me for posing. They don't really care. They'd rather bicker and be lazy, not show, not check in. I was so dedicated. I had so much respect for my people. And I had so much respect because I knew one day one of our past competitors that retired are going to be the audience watching me showcasing my work on the stage. How is she going to feel about me? Am I a joke? Or is she going to say, wow, Sheila, thank you for honoring the history of us, female bodybuilders, because they are all in my mind. Jackie Till, rest in peace. Tanya Knight, rest in peace. They showcased it really well. Nikki Fuller, Shelly Beatty, rest in peace. One of the best performers out there was Shelly Beatty, and she came from Oregon. She was somebody I aspired to, and this again why I found John Romano, and he was my first IFBB pro coach. I wanted that feeling, and he would share so many stories with me and with Shelly. I was in Long Island staying with him the week before the New York Pro, right? He talked so much about her. I was literally having dreams for the New York Pro that I was hanging out with Shelly out in LA in the sand. We're just talking, and I would wake up going, oh my God, I just had a conversation with her. So I went into that show so peaceful. And what was weird, he came backstage. He's like, did you get your number? I said, yeah. He goes, what is it? I said, 27. Because that's really interesting because that's Shelly. That was one of her numbers. So I was always chilled up to death. I was like, oh. And then when him and I made it to Olympia, her highest placing was 3rd and mine was 4th. So she was just, the things that she left behind on that stage, I wanted to emulate myself, and I wanted to know what it felt like. And I feel like I got a taste of it, and it was a wonderful feeling.
Do you think the judging criteria has kind of steered people away from it? Because back in the day, we had a symmetry round. You don't even have that anymore.
It's funny. I was just at a seminar, and Dominic Current, who's one of the promoters out there in Oregon, was saying that the symmetry, the quarter turns, was what they're going for now. I'm like, really? Because that seems to fail in other. I don't think it's true at every show, but in the seminar he was saying it was most important. It's so funny because
I did see a shift at this year's Olympia.
They might be doing something different now.
Judging.
Because I do think it got away from that, and it looks like they're starting to kind of push that again. So folks here's the other thing. I have tried to work with people on their quarter turns. They want to step out and swing. I'm like, what are we in figure? There is a reason why bikini does something, wellness does something, figure does something, and women's physique and bodybuilding. We all have our different style. I don't understand bringing in, well, it looks dumb. I'm just going to say it looks dumb. It should be more, to me, the bodybuilding, and I'm going to bring physique in there because they are bodybuilders. There's a classic style of it. But we are almost like a military, the way we move. Boom. Everything is straight ahead, shoulders up, lats out, narrow waist, quads out, pivot, hit it, pivot, hit it. There's none of this swinging around and crap. What are you doing?
I'm laughing because honestly, when I came up, there was only bodybuilding.
Right.
And I remember the first time, and I'm not knocking these other divisions, but the first time I was walking through the LA Fit Expo, I think it was maybe early 2000s, and I looked across the expo hall and I saw the guys in the board shorts.
Oh.
And I did a double take. I was like, what is this? Like, what the heck what are these shorts covering your legs?
Yeah, we didn't get it either. It was a bizarre intro of that. And honestly, I didn't pay a lot of mind to it. I kind of ignored it, what was going on. And I kind of ignored bikini, although it was hard for us to ignore bikini when we're competing because they're all right there in our way. And I didn't like that either because the camaraderie wasn't there between. I don't know why, but we all need to be separated. You take the lions and zebras over there. Okay. So this is the lions and cougars are right here. Okay. Get the zebras over there. I just have to.
Well, I know why they did it. They did it to be more mainstream so more people would compete.
Amazing. And it's amazing. They're like, okay, so we need to make women's bodybuilding more feminine. You got to keep bringing these posing or the routines in and whatnot. Honestly, that's not really making it feminine. It's making it more entertaining. Give them a reason to come to the shows and watch. I have a hard time. You cannot get me to sit and watch a physique. What am I watching? He's beautiful, but I want to see him do more. I want to see more action. And when I was watching physique, the women only allowed to do so many poses, I thought it would bum me out. I'm like, lat spreads are not masculine. It shows the whole accent of the physique. You're not gonna make it anywhere without lats. You're not, unless you're bikini or wellness. But figuring up, you gotta have lats. So that's what you want to show that. Anyway, but it's just not that entertaining. We want to see a performance, and then that's just the way it is.
I gotta be honest with you. When I go to these big shows during the bikini,
Sorry.
and I think they look great,
They're pretty.
but I can't watch it. I can't watch it. There's too many people that look the same.
Right.
And after I've seen 10 of them, it's like, okay, there's
More?
120 more.
They all have the same hairdo, same implant, and either it's a blonde or a brunette, and it's a pink or a blue suit. Who are you talking about? I can't tell who's who. They all look alike. I'm the same way. And I think I had a few bikini girls wanting to hire me. I said, I'm sorry, I'm a choreographer. And the only one time I allowed it, when they turn around and stick their butt out, I felt insulted. I didn't know it was a pose. And I said, is that a pose? I said, cross your ankles. She goes, oh, no, this is the way we do it. And I'm really uncomfortable. So I actually had her hire somebody else, and I never take another person on since because I don't like it. I think it's insulting. So that's my opinion about that. I'm glad the women are so proud of themselves and they feel good and to do all that. But, you know,
I just feel like it's boring to me.
well, yeah, it is boring.
It's just there's not enough going on. At
No.
least in a good presentation in bodybuilding or even women's physique, they're showing different aspects of their muscularity, their body awareness, their ability to move.
Yeah, and well, in the evening, and here's the other thing, I'm gonna put it out there right now. Music, folks, you're not the only one listening to it. Okay, I'm a metalhead from hell, but I'm not gonna bring it to the stage because I think maybe about 30 of us might appreciate it. So when we're choosing a song, make sure it's gonna be easy. There's speakers everywhere, and it's blasting at your people. And when you're performing and it's synchronized correctly, it's almost like you can kind of almost have any song if you're performing it right. It goes hand in hand. But as you know, a lot of people don't put together like that nicely. But music's very important. It should be almost neutral. You know what I mean? So where it's not offensive, blasting, obnoxious. That's the word. And I'm just gonna tell you. Last year was really busy with a lot of people, and a gal wanted to hire me because her friend was hiring me and she really liked what was going on. And I'm sure she was serious, but so was I. If I can't use a song because I don't want to hear it 100 times while I'm trying to picture movement synchronized into the song, if I cannot hear it 100 times, I'm going to reject it. So it was that stupid damn song, I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world.
Oh.
Because she sent it to my damn phone, I'm literally on the toilet going, what? It was almost like, no. And I was like, oh my God, I was almost shaking. That's gonna be stuck in my head all damn day. And I'm like, oh, how do I tell her? And I said, sweetheart, I can't stand that song. I'm so sorry. I said, there's nothing wrong with the editing, but I can't take on your thing. You know what she says to me? You're right. I'm gonna find somebody who wants to challenge themselves. I don't know who this girl is, but I hope one day we come across each other. I really do, because this girl has never made as far as I have. Has never made as many routines I have. I have literally gone overboard and wasn't even paid for it for a lot of these people. Overboard to make sure that things were together for them.
Right.
It's never tipped. Oh, I've been forgotten to be mentioned in their post up on Instagrams, So for her to say that to me really upset me, and it's never left my mind. I don't have to do this for work. I don't. I choose to because you asked me to. And you'll have my heart and soul. If she would have changed that song to something else that was attached to the other song, I would have fucking been all over it. Let's go. Now you're serious. But you're not serious when you're playing crap like that. I'm not going to help you project that to our audience and to the history of the sport. When you're on stage, you got to show your respect to the stage and the people. But that's the dumbest song. Don't insult me.
I've always felt like my music, whatever I picked, it had to be something that went along with what I'm trying to present.
Yeah.
And my routine, I would literally practice my routine in my head just driving, listening to that music to the point where when I'd get to the stage, it was all synchronized together.
Yeah.
And
I've always hated my routines in my song before. I'm just sitting like, oh, I can't wait till this is over. I'm so sick of this song. And then it would take me almost 4 months to watch my performance because I was like, I always shake to watch myself. I don't want to watch myself. I don't want to watch myself. But I have to say, when you've done it so many times and you don't like your song anymore, you're bored of it, you're ready. And then when you go perform, everybody's like, man, you made that look easy. It wasn't, but it's because you rehearsed it so much that it looked very pleasant. The audience got to sit there and enjoy and clap and smile. You don't want people going, oh my God, oh my God. The worst thing I ever want to do was stress out my audience. I always wanted my audience to sit back and relax and enjoy the art. That was my goal every time. I never wanted you guys stressed out. I never wanted you to feel upset. I wanted it to be something that you could relate to and go, you know what? She's making me feel something. I'm thinking about something. And artwork does that. You can walk by a painting and go, God, that made me feel something. You hear a song. That's all that mattered to me. It wasn't even the fact that I got a best performer award. That was even that was least important to me. How the audience felt about me. And still to this day, I'll get an old routine that gets sent to me. I'm glad. I'm glad it's there.
you actually reminded me of something. When I was a teenager, I watched Frank Zane do his posing routine. I believe it was in Mr. Olympia on Wide World of Sports. And this is when I was just learning bodybuilding. And I remember watching it, and I was more of at the time more into the mass than the aesthetics. But he was put together so well, and he moved so well. I was just mesmerized watching his routine.
Yeah.
He did it so well. It was just amazing to see that.
Hmm.
I was like, I can't believe a human being is put together that perfectly and can move like that.
Hmm.
And that stuck in my brain. It's like
Yeah.
you need to show that.
That's exactly how I always felt. And here's the other thing: when you're one with yourself like that, it's not just hitting the weights and creating your craft and all that, but when you diet down, you chisel out, that's yours. You did that. So you start feeling this, and then when you start applying yourself to music and you're creating these movements, to me, it's such a great escape. Is when somebody's like, "Oh, Sheila, do yoga?" Oh, I do something better. I am one with myself,
Mhm.
and I think that's with some of us bodybuilders that take it to that level. That's why we don't always need the stage, but we need this. And
Right.
I can anytime I move my furniture around still to this day. You'll see me put stuff on my storyline, and I'm doing weird dances or whatnot. It's because I'm enjoying my craft. And I think we'll probably be flexing from the mirror till we're dead. Why not? It's my hot rod. This is your hot rod. So we're gonna appreciate like that. So here's the other thing in the off season. Let's talk about off season. Off season, a lot of people let go a lot real quick. You stop posing, you stop trying to be mobile, you stop stretching if you ever did. You hang up the cardio. Oh, it's gonna get small. So you put taboo on everything. None of it stops. None of it stops. Okay. The moment you stop building up scar tissue, all of a sudden your range of motion starts changing. I know, I get you guys when you hire me, and you can't barely do this. This is your side chest. You're all uptight here. There's no nice curve, and you're like, okay, I need to get a massage. So it's not. You don't need just a massage. You need to work on get bands, towels. I don't care, and you don't have to look like an acrobat. That's not what I'm saying. Range of motion, folks. Everybody's losing their range of motion. So they're like, "What's this?" And then, oh, shit, as far as I can get my hands up. I never seen it this bad. I have you sit on the ground, your knees are way up here. You can't even have a normal Indian sit. So put your legs straight forward. Let's try and lean forward. And all of a sudden, everything's like this. Sheila, I can't. Okay. So little rotations in your hips, little rotations in your shoulders, spine rotations. Keep that going. You don't have to do a marathon in off season, but at least 20 minutes, a couple days a week, getting that heart rate up, keeping that going. And flex in the mirror. Get out of the shower. It's only 5 minutes. Just keep that range of motion, that ligaments movement. Don't lose it. I got people that hired me last year, went to hire me this year, and they're back to doing this with their quarter turns. What the hell? And whoever told you that? Why do you look like you're riding a motorcycle? So when you don't hang it up, you never lose what you learned last year. So you're still there, and then you can apply it even further, and now you're going to get better and better and better. Stop stopping. Why are we stopping? Why'd you stop dieting? Why'd you stop working out? Why any of that? It makes no sense to me.
I can tell you like this. When you said the term off season, I don't really have an off season.
Thank you.
I don't
Ding,
have
ding, 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 ding.
nothing changes. My training is the same, whether I'm getting ready for a show or not. It doesn't change.
Right.
The only thing that might change when I'm getting ready for a show, well, a couple things. I've stayed pretty lean all the time. So obviously I tighten my diet up a little bit at the
Right.
very end to get, that detail. And I might put a little bit more effort into my posing.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, it's the same. It's been the same since I was 16 years old, since I did my first show.
Right.
My training's the same. It's all the way up till the last week of the contest.
Yeah. So when people want to tell me I'm busy with work, so I'm going to tell you guys this also. A lot of you went through the military, you got your GI Bill, you went to college, you have these great jobs. You're at work 10, 12 hours a day. You're on your feet. Well, I may not have got all that. I might have been a heister driver, loading trucks. I worked in lumber mills. I still applied myself off season or pre-contest, no problem. I made time. Just like you're saying, when we're training, we pose at the gym. We didn't have cameras. We didn't take pictures of ourselves. We didn't put a friggin', there's so much I've done that nobody's ever seen in their life. And I don't even care. The whole world doesn't need to know what I did because you're going to see it when I show up on the stage. So quit showing everybody everything you're doing. It's just like a fighter. You think a fighter is going to show all his skills on social media? And so by the time he's up to the fight, that coach over there studied the way he was training and he taught his own athlete. And now, guess what? He didn't win. So that's why I stay away from the internet when I was prepping. You didn't see me until 3 weeks out, 21 days out. That was always my mark because if you're not ready, I'm there to mess with your head. I'm already in shape and I'm already posing like, everything's done and everything was. Mm-hmm. Only thing that mattered at that point was finishing up the contracts. I had my flight, had my hotel. I already had the list of food that I'm gonna be bringing out there. The important shit that you don't need to be stressed about on the last week because everything's done. So anyways, going to that, I just found it just frustrates me the way I see things are today. I'm trying not to get upset about it. But anyways, annoyed, whatever. Scratch all that out. Okay. So anyways, back up.
Good. Well, Mr. Olympia, the former Mr. Olympia, Hadi Chupin, last year's Mr. Olympia, this year, his posing routine, it wasn't a routine. He basically did a series of most musculars and pushed the ceiling up.
I wish I had that guy in front of me and I'd write something for him.
But I was like, what is this? He wasn't even a routine. He just went out there and hit mandatory poses and walked around the stage and I hate this. If you're doing this,
it's embarrassing.
If you're doing this, then something's wrong. Like if you're doing a good presentation, that should be enough to get the audience involved and to get on their feet and clap for you. If you're in shape and you're doing a really good presentation, that's what you're showing. If you're doing this and this,
it's embarrassing. I don't like being the viewer of that. It is embarrassing. I've never done that my whole career.
I've never, and it's like you're begging for applause.
Yeah, I think anytime I remember this clearly. I remember walking on this stage in 2011 Olympia, even though I started in 2010, I remember thinking, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Oh my God. I remember getting on the floor going, don't you dare mess up this lift. I can't hear nothing. So the only thing I care about is I hear that music and I can feel the floor. and I'm not missing any moment of my routine. I am so present. So when I'm done, I feel like you all hate me. I'm serious. I don't hear nothing. I can't see anything. And I walk off and I feel like I'm gonna have a heart attack. I mean, they're always with water. I'm all, "Sure, you okay?" They hated me. They hated me. Every show I've ever done, I swear to you, when I walk off, I'm like, they all hated me. They didn't like me. They're like, no, show, they clapped. I heard, that's all I heard. I never heard a crowd before in my whole career. And when I would watch a video, I'm like, oh, okay, there was a clap. Okay. But I think my biggest crowd or was New York Pro and 2006 when I wasn't a pro. And it was the first time that IFBB had me perform. And it was so loud. And I think it was the first time they saw something since Diana Dennis. That was what I was told. And after that, they kept me in the top 5 at nationals. They wanted to see me again, but they would tell me, come in sharper, come in a little sharper. And so I went on that catfish zucchini diet in 2008. Oh man, I was a rock. I was a rock, and I had that Terminator routine. And they said, this is what we're looking for. Okay. So it was my job to come constantly bring that in and bring something like that. But it was the first time I heard a crowd. It's only a couple times in my career. Yeah. Yeah. It makes you feel happy because you know the champ, not nationals, but in 2006, it was Heather Pollock that was winning. She just went out there and shook her quad the whole lot. I'm all, oh, I don't want to go there. But she had to go out after me. And here she was telling me, she goes, I don't like going after you. Are you kidding me? All you have to do is shake a quad. I'm doing the splits in the air. I'm doing all this and this and this just to get a, so you're fine. You got quads. So I feel like that what I loved about back in the day was that I felt like every bodybuilder brought something different. So it kept it entertaining. It kept it colorful. You're not trying to be something. They went up there and said, okay, this is my weapon. This is in your face. We're like, oh shit, did I bring my game? Did I bring my game? I got to come in a little bit leaner. I come in a little bit bigger. There was always something. Today, I'm bored as hell. I won't even watch a women's bodybuilding show. You cannot get me to sit there and watch it. Humiliating. It's humiliating.
Some of the routines I've gotten, some of them are good. Some of them are good. Maybe not to your standard.
No, actually, the girl that took second at the Olympia, what was her name? Stephanie, you remember her name?
Angela Yo, yeah.
Okay. I just want to put it out there. Her conditioning, spot perfect. She's pretty. I love her. She can pose. She can perform. That was my champion. That's my champion. Because when Andrea Shaw is great, she has nice size, but she's too wet looking for me. And I come up with Iris Kyle. There was no wet looking on Iris Kyle. That girl was crisp every time, small joints, size, and all. And she'd come in a little bit small, softer, or she'd come in just hard. It didn't really matter. She had this incredible frame, and she knew how to showcase and land in those poses, And then, of course, you had Yagzini, Debbie Luzinski, had myself, Alina, Brigitte, and, rest of us, whatever. But when I'm watching the Olympia today, and I'm going to say it, some of these physiques are like trolls to me. It's not pretty. It doesn't make sense. So Andrea Shaw's lines make sense. They're nice. But that woman, Angela, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Her lines make sense. Obliques might be a little bit overbearing, but you know what? When I'm looking at the overall package and the entire presentation head to toe, which kind of reminded me of myself when I would be next, with Helly or Elena, that I carried everything else that they didn't. So I'm seeing that with her. And I'm like, man, you're gonna be riding that second place for a while because but just know that you're a favorite, because I think Michaela has her conditioning, but Michaela will never have her symmetry, the bone structure or anything like that. So when I'm looking at this woman, her lines make sense.
Well, we got to talk to her at the Olympia the gala afterwards for a while, actually. And she definitely has that mindset.
Okay. Yeah.
Like you do, that champion mindset. Like she's not messing around.
No, I think she caught my eye even a year before. I just couldn't find her again on Instagram what her name was, So, but it's nice to see a woman take her conditioning very serious, but not just her conditioning. She has body awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And she also knows she's pretty. You know what I mean? So she kind of has, and it's a very fine line we're walking when we're at that peak of our life in our career. We get hard in the face, we got veins in her, we look like the devil, but she carries herself in a certain way. And when she's posing, I can tell it's hers, she's not trying. These are her poses she's been working on. So I like that, so she does showcase pretty well.
I
She gets to
kind
the
of,
point. She gets to the point. Folks, there's people out there sit there and do this. I don't know where you're going, but you're boring the crap out of us and you're going really, really slow before you decide to go.
I kind of look at her compared um, back in the day. You know, we had Lee Haney and Rich Gasperi,
Right?
and Rich was more shredded, and
Yes.
obviously, you know, the first one with striated glutes, and I don't know if his presentation was better, but you could really see he put a lot of effort into it. But Haney just had the genetic structure.
But he had a very nice glow when he got on that stage. He knew it was like, I'm the king.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying? The aura. He didn't have to try. He just went up there and went, boom. And everybody's like, boom. You just loved him. It was his aura. So that's the other thing that's important. Your character comes out when you come on that stage.
Right.
I'm not saying that Rich had ever had a bad character. I mean, I loved what
No,
was that?
just structurally,
Yeah.
though, he just couldn't
Hang.
beat Haney because he just didn't have that. He
beauty.
didn't have wide shoulders and a little tiny waist.
No, he had a thicker waist. I remember seeing that even as a kid.
I think when you compare Angela Yo
Yeah.
to
Andrea
Shaw, Andrea is just
her structure.
her structure. She's just put together so well.
Yeah, her waist stays small. I just would like to see 3 pounds of water weight off that and then fill in a little bit more crisp. You know what I'm saying? Bring it down just a couple more pounds and then stay dry and fill that in. And so that her glutes and her legs will match her upper body. It doesn't match. Dude, I haven't even competed and I'll have more feathers in front of my quads than her. So
Right.
that's what I don't like. You know, and I understand Sandy's like, oh, I like people a little fuller. So since that bores me, I go and watch Women's Physique because they bring that conditioning that I'm looking for.
Right.
That would inspire me. Oh, she looks great. That looks good on this.
Well, you're like me. I'm
Anatomy
all
chart.
about conditioning.
Yeah, things that are difficult that takes an elite person who has the discipline because it is hard, you're tired, and it does hurt. You can't even touch your face because of skin over bone. You can't sit on anything because your tailbone's and everything. And it's not a health game. This is it's actually a dangerous game. This is like a high risk sport, just like motocross. You know, wrestling is a very high risk sport. So it is for the elite, you know? So when I see certain people making the Olympia, I don't know how. Okay, whatever.
Something that I touched on the other day was, we can talk about this or not, is I would like to know your personal opinion on how PEDs got involved in the sport and what you think about that.
Well, for the first 10 years of my career, it was never talked about. And if I heard it, it was like a guy thing. You know, it was almost like a fireman. I thought it was just for men. It never registered to my brain. And at the time, you know, we had things like Twin Lab and, you know, to us, it was hardcore. So it didn't come around to me until I got to Eugene and Portland, Oregon, the bigger inner cities. And it was this, hey, Sheila, if you're going to go further, you're probably going to have to try a little something to, you know, help out with the quality and the size. I'm all, what? I didn't understand. And so I got to Portland, and back then it was like 50 mgs a week or something. Like we think we were doing something right. But I was following my diet. I'm all, am I okay? Everything fine? Everything okay? But I noticed the quality became a bit more. But I'm 25, 26 years old now, you know? So I started. And so when I was talking to my person, and he watched me every week, you know? And then I just kind of ran with that. And I started grabbing steroid books to read. And then I was talking to other men who put on shows who knew these elite women and passing down messages to me. I'm not gonna say anybody's names, but I'm grateful that she would open up and tell my coach things to tell me. So, but we did very little. And I would get harder, you know? And then when I went to bigger shows, I noticed how monstrous certain people were, especially if they came from Europe. They don't care. But I was like, but I remember my photographer, Steve Winterstrom, he pulled me aside. He goes, never mind that. That's not what the judges are looking for. Okay, he goes, just quality, keep your pace, nothing, you know. And I ran with that. And, but I never had an off season. I kept working on my quality in the off season. People want to stop and grab their drugs and start their drugs. Now I'm training, now I'm dieting. Well, no, you know, so that was never my mentality. To me, the equipoise or the anavar was my life jacket while I'm doing 3 hours of cardio and I'm doing a 1,500 calorie diet. So it's keeping on the weight a little bit while I'm going through something to get me harder, you know? So I looked at it as a little bit of life jacket, but it was not my answer. My answer was our years of training and the way we ate all the time. Pie is going to build that quality. Your cookies are not going to, your splurge days that you think you deserve to this award is not going to build you muscle. I am sorry. Have that theory in your head. I don't care. You show up next to somebody who took their training serious in the off season, you're going to get blown away. Or you're going to be wearing your wigs because you decided to do a bunch of drugs to compete and go chase this girl. So there's certain coaches going, screw it. Everybody wears wigs. I've heard things and I've had women send me things and I can't believe what's being said today that would have never been said 20 years ago to me, ever. They were always worried about what was going on with a woman, always. So, but I'll also say this, there's certain women that went to hire me and I said, I'm not going to get involved with X, Y, and Z. I never heard from them since. They don't care. So I don't know the mentality today.
Well, I could tell you, when I started, the same PEDs that people use today were there back then. It
Right.
just wasn't as known because we didn't have the internet and social media,
No, we didn't.
and you had to be in with the in crowd to
Right.
kind of know what was going on. That being said, the emphasis was always on the training and nutrition, and that was just like a supplement to help.
Right.
It wasn't the be all end all, and this is what's going to make you a champion.
No. I mean, my coach was always like, "Sure, you got your aminos. Do you have your fiber? Do you have your omegas? Do you have your minerals? Yeah, I got it all. Okay." That was more important to him than did your Anavar come in? Did you get your Primo? It was never that conversation, you know? And then when it came to prep time, okay, kid, stupid of this, stupid of that, but never, I mean, it just wasn't the main topic. It really wasn't.
And I can tell you that changed, I believe, in the 90s, when people just started pushing more gear. And now it's got to the point where people think, it's just about the gear. And that's a wrong perception. And the public thinks that, we just sit on the couch, eat donuts, and take a bunch of gear and look like that.
I don't want to be
And,
subjected to that.
and
It's not me.
that doesn't work.
I
It
always
doesn't
say, if
work.
that's true, grab your girl, grab me, let's go. We're gonna see who's gonna last longer. Because
Mhm.
I work out all the time, cardio. I'm not gonna say everything I do because I like to hide a lot of things I do. That's my own, thing. But my twin and I were at it all the time, all the time. So it's just sad that that's what gets them into the gym. Not heart, not the desire of it, not the feeling of it, but it's because they got something and now they started their cycle. Okay, what's your diet like? Oh, I just throw this and this and this in, but look what I got. Wow. Is that your rock collection? What's going on? So
Well, I think people think that, the PEDs are going to make up for their lack of discipline, lack of
no, it
hard
makes them look
work.
worse because I think saying when they start to if they start it right out of the gate, and it's funny because I kind of I'm gonna use this analogy. My suit lady, Mary Christine, her puppies are having their first cycle and she has to put diapers on. She's like, oh my gosh, Sheila, this is killing me. But she usually would have them fixed, but apparently it stumps their growth plates. So they have to have their first period before she can get her puppies fixed. And I went, you know what? That's a good analogy. What I see is the girls in their 20s jumping on the PEDs. I don't see their structure changing. It's almost like a flat muscle and it just stays here, but they're getting heavier. How? I don't know, but it's like weird. I just feel like the proper roundness isn't there. It's going everywhere. Or if they jumped on these, I don't know what they're doing today, but it's almost like that. What was that? Hypertrophy, extreme
Hmm.
hypertrophy. And what I saw that came my way into, I'm not saying any names, but what I saw was a certain amount of insulin, which I don't understand, and the amount of growth hormone. And this was for a girl who was about 5 foot something. And I was like, what the hell? Well, then when you look at it, it's very mutated in 2 years. And I think I can say that, and everybody's probably gonna go, I know who you're talking about. But when I saw this, but to her, she looks wonderful. Conditioning sick, great, but your arms look about this big and your back looks this wide. Your back runs into your glutes and your legs, and you look like a troll. So it's mutating the women. I've been seeing the foreheads changing and the nose changing completely, and their feet. And it's like I'm hanging out with Frodo's. The hell? Well, I'm sorry. And then they want to do Botox, and everything's just changing. It's just sad. I'm sorry. We're not. It's just
I'll tell you what you're seeing is, when they're adding in all that growth hormone and insulin, it's increasing blood volume. And when you do that, yeah, the muscles are more full and they're bigger, but we don't see striations in the quads anymore. You don't see striations through their shoulders, through their pecs. It just looks like an implant almost. You used to see striations everywhere. Now you don't see that because it's blurred out because it's just like when you pump up a muscle right after a hard training session and it's just full of blood.
Yeah.
There's no detail
Right.
because it's all blurred out because
Yeah.
there's too much blood. Well, it's the same thing. The muscle's just full of blood. So it's not actual muscle fiber you're looking at. You're
Mm-mm.
looking at just a lot of blood volume
Yeah, it's bizarre.
and it doesn't look right.
Mm-mm. And the other, I kind of notice, like when you're making a muscle, when you're seeing it formate, it's almost like just a big arm, and the bicep's actually kind of small. It's not a bicep tricep. It's just things I've been noticing.
Yeah, no separation.
Yeah, so I don't know how they're training if they're not doing like a full contraction twist, or if they're just grabbing weights and just just going volume instead of detail. So we got isolation, small muscles, and then compound movements, small muscles. I always mixed it up. I always wanted
Well,
to be
I
able to see
I
that.
can tell you because I've watched it in the gym for years. The intensity of effort isn't there. So they're not really training that hard in the gym. Everybody got away from free weights and they're using machines and there's no intensity going on.
Right.
So you're not getting the development in the muscle that,
Yeah.
like back in the
No.
day, we trained hard. Everybody
Yep.
trained hard.
Yeah.
And you don't see that anymore.
Mm-mm.
Hardly at all.
When I'd be prepping for the Tampa, Melody Specco, she was my workout partner in Tampa. She'd be coming in from Canada, and she's like, "Hey," 'cause she hated cardio, and she would never do high rep in the off season. But she knew when it was prep time. She's like, "Hey, Sheila," yeah, she'd never call, text. I mean, she at Powerhouse. I knew exactly what was up. It's 100 rep, 100 reps time today. 100 reps on that leg press. Yeah, after we do this and this, I hate you. Yeah. Her and I were always after it. We would be on a deficit, still going after it. It's a feeling, it's a discipline, it's this hunger, it's this eye of the tiger. And we never hung out. But that's what her and I did together. That is what pulled her and I together. Dumbbell presses, squats, deadlifts, off the pegs, high reps, drop sets, burnouts. And we would always look at the watch, 45 seconds, let's go. 45 seconds, go. We never went 1, 2, 3 minute in betweens. No, we're after it. And it made us very hard. And if people look at the 2014 Tampa Pro, her night's condition was identical. Identical. Although she did more carbs, I was more keto, but it doesn't matter. When you're applying it the same way, you're probably going to turn out looking alike, which we did.
Mhm.
She got fifth. I did win, but posing was very hard for her. It wasn't really her thing. She wanted it to be, but she's like, so I did do her routine and she would try, but that was the only reason. That's why we started talking about performing, showcasing your work, so you can probably do a little bit better because you might get outperformed by somebody who didn't look like you. Like somebody could have been a little bit harder and leaner, but they showcased it better. And that was how sometimes she would lose. And I tell her, "Melody, you got to practice that posing because you were so awesome looking." She'd like, oh, she'd be so mad. But she looked amazing. So that's, we would also do that in off season. I'd be taking off to Sweden. She'd be in Canada. I'd be sending her a message. "Hey, I'll meet you at Powerhouse. Yeah, how you been training? Hard, hard, hard. We call it the number of the beast. So it'd be like 3 of us, different squat racks, legs, and we all go. I mean, just train insane. We just trained insane. Why? Because we could. There was no time. We didn't record anything. You stop and record, it deflates you. You're setting it up. I think my best, strongest lifts, my marathon workouts were never documented. But there was somebody there, and her and I will still talk about, man, that was ugly. We did it. It's awesome. So no, anyway.
Well, yeah, I really think that maybe it's just everything in life has gotten so much easier now. You know, uh, we can do everything with our cell phone. Nobody does anything manual labor anymore. Really.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Everything's automated and it's done for you. So people have just gotten soft and lazy.
I think that's always petrified me. And I think that's why I always kind of live the way I do, because I don't want to lose that feeling. And I stay in touch very close with Jake, my old coach, because he will always have a tool in his hand, a paintbrush in the other. Always. and I will go back into his stuff, and I'm looking at his cars, and I love him. I love him. He can build your house. He can whatever the hell you want. My cousin Cam, same thing. Go to his property. He did that and that and that and that. I like to hang out with people like that. Workers. They know what to do.
Right.
If we get stomped on the road, flat tire, it's usually me changing the damn thing. I've never the only couple boyfriends I had. It's Mike. He is a mechanic and he works with everything, but he would be the only one that do that stuff. My sister and I had to learn to do all that stuff. So I don't want to lose that. Girls can. You can marry who the hell you want and they can do everything for you. I don't want to be that person idling. I always want to know what I'm doing. It's funner that way.
Well, we grew up in a time where, you had to know how to change a tire.
Yeah.
You had
Yeah.
to be able to, test your battery,
Mhm.
test your oil, just basic stuff.
hmm I mean, just the other day, I had to jump start my mom's car, and there was a guy like, "Can I help you guys?" Mom and I were like, "We got it. We don't need to." And she's almost 70, and I'm almost 50. We got it. It's a different time, But these are just things that us ladies, I hope, a lot of women out there don't lose that kind of skill. Take care of yourself. Know how to. Know some skills. Have some labor skills. So you feel safer. So you guys have
It's not
something.
just females, the guys today
Yeah.
too. They can't do anything.
Hence why I'm single. All the guys everybody's married. That was a mechanic. Everybody's married and they have kids. I'm like, I'm just gonna say where I'm at, because other people that came my way are a lot of pencil pushers, or they're into computers, they're into other things, and not that a doctor would be a problem or some kind of male nurse or anything. But none of us hang out anymore. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really seen. I train at home. I dance at home. Um, the gyms are very cold for me. So I'm around in the summertime, but I'm to myself, and half the gyms, the kids are 24 years old.
Right.
Somebody my age, no, there's not a lot of people my age that are fit and healthy and make these kind of things important.
I think there might be more than we realize, but
Right,
we're so isolated
right.
because everybody's on their cell phone and their computer. We don't
Mesh it together.
we don't see people
Nobody looks
anymore.
up. And here's the other thing. It's just like you and I are in here. My cell phone's in your car. It's not next to me. So there's a reason for that. I'm here for you. The world, they don't, I'm not distracted like that. When I'm
Right.
driving my car, it's that car, that phone is actually in my trunk. And there's not even a lock on it. You know why? True story. One time I lost it at the airport and they called the last person I talked to. You know who that was John Romano. And they could say my name across the intercom to get up. And I thought, as much as I watch homicide, if I get killed and murdered and brutal, and there's my phone over there, they can open it up and find out, oh, this is her mom. I could be found. There's that. Or, it's one of those things. I use it as a survival thing. There's nothing in there that somebody's going to gain. But I always keep it unlocked just in case, because I go power walking a lot and you wouldn't believe how many times I've left my phone somewhere because it's just not important to me. It's never been the number one priority in my life. That's probably why I suck at social media. I'm there and then I'm not. I'm there, I'm not. I just don't care. It doesn't rule my life.
I got to be honest with you. It's been a challenge for me because I do it for
Business. You
business.
have to. It's just the way the world is now.
I do it for business, but I don't get excited to post on Instagram.
No, I get anxiety when I do. Lately, I haven't posted in a while. What I use is a storyline. If anybody cares, they'll see what I'm doing. If they don't, whatever.
Right.
Because that's how I feel about you too. So I don't care. If I worry about you, you're going to get a WhatsApp from me. There's probably about 50 people in my WhatsApp. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And since I'm getting more into the CNA work, I'm busy. I'm busy with my mom. I want to buy a house in the future, and I never wanted to buy anything ever in my life. I never wanted to commit myself to anything. The only thing I was committed to was my sport and to myself. But now that I'm back and I'm so excited to kind of to have this new leaf and stuff, I don't know where I was going with that. What was I saying?
You're talking about in the house.
I know, but I just went, oh, and I'm hungry, and I forgot what I was talking about the new work that being in the nursing and stuff. It doesn't apply you to be on the internet. So I'm slowly transitioning out. And if I keep social media, it's really because I want to see what's going out there, and I want my friends from high school I was friends with. I'll probably always keep my Facebook because I use that like a photo album.
Right.
You can go in there and it'll start from here, boom, boom. Like, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that. I like having that. But I was petrified for it to rule my life. I remember, I think one time it did get me. I was constantly looking, and I'm all, man, I feel suffocating. Like I was getting moody. My eyes were hurting. I kept getting headaches. I'm like going, God, why am I feeling like this? And I went, oh, screw this. So I started leaving at home, taking off for a jog because I was also using my walking app. I know where I'm going and how fast. I don't need this thing to tell me that. So I started throwing that thing back. I grabbed my tunes. My tunes tell me how far out I go. So it's exactly 1 hour of rock and roll. So I know by the time I land on this Kiss song or this Queensryche song, time to turn back because I'm gonna land on Manowar. So you know what I'm saying? So that's the way I've always did as a kid. All my that's the way I had always done it. So those are things I don't want to lose these habits.
Right.
World, I realize you're changing, but by the time it fully changes, I'm gonna be dead. Thank God. I don't want to be here. Not for that. I don't want IT taking over my life.
And we get sucked into it and we don't even realize it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember when I worked as a sales rep for Cutco Cutlery, we didn't have GPS.
Yeah.
And I learned every street in LA County. I was using a Thomas guide, but I knew my way around
Right.
after a while. I could get to everywhere.
That's where I'm guilty.
Now
I'm
today,
GPS.
without the GPS, you don't even can't get to down the street.
Now I know it's like, now talk to me. And I used to like, God, Sharon and I were talking about this when she had her boxing fights. We're 19 years old from a small town. And she's like, hey, Sheila, I think I got this fight in Portland. I'm all, isn't that a huge city? Yeah. Okay. Meet me here. How did I find her? I don't remember. I really don't remember. It would be like a tavern. I pick her up there or I meet her there, go all the way back to her apartment. She'd jump in my car. And then we had it all written out and drawn out to find this. It was a bar. It was like this type of bar her and I found that was her fight. And she had to weigh in about 142. Went in, we had her fight, and we left. And I got her right back to Springfield, Oregon. There was no map in our car. We went somewhere we'd never been to before, and her and I will still sit there and look at each other, going, "Well, I think that's what we did." But I'm like, "How did we make it on time?" We all managed. We had
Right.
full-time jobs, no cell phones. Half the time, we didn't have a map in our car. Go to this place, and we're looking at exits, and you know damn well exits don't always work. It looked like somebody's friggin' high on acid, how they made all these damn roads and shit. Where are we at? I don't know. I think we're over there. Okay, follow north, south. Where are we at? Compass, compass, compass. Go. It was crazy, but we did it.
Yeah.
I love that. I love those feelings. I'm glad I had that life. I mean, I really am.
Things were simpler.
Mm-hmm.
You think technology makes your life less complicated? It
Mm.
makes it more complicated.
And I don't want to be dumber, and I have a hard time with that. It's this, and I know part of that was my upbringing abuse. That you're stupid, you're stupid, you're stupid. So, and I had a hard time absorbing information. So when I'm looking at it, I'm like, God, am I getting dumber? Put it down, grab a book, start reading. Have to wear eyeglasses now. So I'm constantly trying to keep myself, because there was a time that I allowed myself to get stuck in series and all that. And I found myself talking with everybody else about what happened in this and this. And I'm like, this is wasting my life. I am not a person to sit and get addicted to a series. Thank you, Sons of Anarchy and Kurt Sutter. I love you. I'd rather read your books, but I don't want to get sucked in like that again.
Right.
I don't. It robbed my life. I was on Twitter, and now I'm barely ever on Twitter. That guy has some kick-ass stories, though. I don't know if you ever watched The Outlaw.
I've seen some of it, but not
Kurt
much.
Sutter Outlaws. That's because he went and investigated everybody from the Crips to the
Oh,
R&B
okay.
to the mafias and all that. It was awesome. You'll learn a lot. It was great. That to me, he's one of my favorite writers. Favorite writers. He's a mouth. He's a rebel. And I think that's maybe why I can kind of relate to the guy. But he speaks so well. Very intelligent. Very intelligent. But yeah.
So something I wanted to touch on.
Mhm.
A lot of people, they get into the sport for whatever reason, and then they start competing, and it seems like competing is their driver. It's their reason for doing it. And then when they stop competing, they stop training, they stop everything. And like I stopped competing. I competed for a long time, up till I think my last show was, what was it, 4 or 5 years ago. And I finally stopped because I realized that I'd done everything
Yeah,
that I could accomplish in that, and I
me too.
wasn't gonna do anything anymore.
Yeah,
And there were certain aspects of the competing that I just didn't want to put my body through anymore.
yeah, me too. Yeah, I was done. When I was done, I was done. You feel
But
it. But anyway,
but I never I trained for myself. It was never the competition was just like, okay, this is like, 'cause I've competed in powerlifting and bodybuilding.
right.
And it was like, okay, this is something fun that I can do, but
Mm-hmm.
that's not why I'm doing it. And I think a lot of people have a problem with that because it's like once they're done competing, it's like now they just don't know what to do
That's
with
because it
themselves.
wasn't what saved their life. It's what saved yours. It's what saved mine. We started so young. You know what I mean? It's like when you're a kid and you see your first, dance, like when we're watching MTV, like all of us watching, Michael Jackson would Beat It. You know how we're glued. This guy kicked off this art, this powered the world, right? And then you embrace it and we start dancing. Well, I'm in my mind, I'm thinking people that got into bodybuilding, they weren't really watching it. They weren't really watching a lot of dance. They weren't watching a lot of performances. I did. I watched martial arts to videos on MTV and Headbangers Ball. I had everything affecting me and I loved it and was in love with it. I wanted to be in it. It had nothing to do with competition. But when somebody's like, you know what, Sheila, you're pretty disciplined. You got this. You should do competition. You know how many times I shoved it away? Get away. No, no, this is mine. This is mine. It can still be yours. Okay. Because it felt like somebody was going to take it from me. This is my music. This is my gym. I it was weird. I felt like somebody was going to take it from me. But I had a good coach and it made me be in love. And then the thing is that when I didn't compete, I still felt the same way. So I felt more love about my life outside of competing. Competing, it wasn't always, I did well. You can go, wow, but Sheila, you won. There was sometimes the feeling that was starting to happen that was starting to foreshadow my passion. Okay. It was starting to blur it. And I started to feel bitter when I never felt bitter before. And I'm all, you're taking this away from me. You're taking my videos so I can't watch myself. You're taking my photos so I can't promote myself. And this went on the first few years until I ditched the bodybuilding and I went into women's physique. And I went clear to Vancouver, British Columbia. And it was the first time I could feel my soul again because I got to perform. This guy, I forget his name, he was recording me for muscular development. He goes, I had never seen that before. Well, yeah, because I was blackballed. So that started ruining my passion. Fuck the stage then. I'm going to take my dance, my physique, my body, I would just go back in my living room where it all began. I used to pose for myself. I never did it for the stage. It was just an opportunity. But then if the powers to be are going to start yanking the opportunity from me, well, screw it. I don't need their approval, and I can give myself another path. So I was born into it and I went into as far as I could until I started being controlled and I grabbed my package and everything I loved and I walked away. And I still have everything. I just don't have that stage. Well, it doesn't rule my life. There's so much more going on. And I just apply myself to that. And those kind of new people in my world, they're happy and nobody's bitter and you go on. Other people, I can't speak for them. It's almost like they saw it and they did it out of a greedy way. This arrogance, this, I'm going to be the best, best, best. And it's like, well, what makes you that? Some of us been started we had this track record that we built up. We didn't rush it. We had these different platforms that we went from here to here to here to here. And it was year after year. It didn't happen to us in 2 years. It happened over a decade.
Right.
Okay, so we have all that wisdom of feeling pain, the digging, the diets, the training, every style of training. We didn't just have one, two, three. We had a gazillion. And then we took it somewhere and we're trying to educate the best that we can within 3 feet of ourselves. We didn't really have a lot of internet, but so we had that behind us and we hold on to that with an iron grip. These other people, dad gave me a car, so what? Okay, I have the bodybuilding, I got a quick trophy and a quick this, and I got my PEDs, and so what? We're not like that. No way. We had a lot more care going on than that.
That's a problem I've had coaching clients, to be honest with you. Because if someone's not really serious, I'm just not motivated to do it.
Too much is handed to people. Nothing was ever handed to me. And I earned every trophy I ever had. I earned every spanking I had. And I also didn't go and blurt everywhere, I deserve this and this. No, I stayed late. And I remember the woman that I talked to was Linda Hoyt. And I waited. Hi, Sheila, how can I help you? And I said, I don't understand how I got 11th. She goes, let's take a look here. So she goes, stand up. She's looking at me. She goes, okay. She goes, no. I said, Mimi Jambali won. And I ended up 11th. And a lot of us I looked like Laura Attanad. She goes, yeah. She goes, but your conditioning was a little bit different. It was a little hard. She goes, it was a different hardness. Do you understand? And she's trying to explain it to me. I'm all, you know when he did wrong. I used a diuretic and I was flat and hard. And that's why.
Right.
So you need to know that. What did you actually do? Okay. Be accountable. I just wanted her to talk to me. And I wanted her to know that it was important to me and I wanted to do better. So I'm punished. Tell me what to do. She told me what to do. And she goes, come back next year, do the USAs. So I called my old coach and I said, I can't do this alone. I really need a partner. He said, no problem. I start prepping you. And he was pretty good friends with John, oh my God, I forget his last name, that he runs the USAs. Steve O'Brien and John something.
Lindsay?
Yeah, thank you. And so they would kind of pass notes, whatnot, and kind of educate me a little bit. All right, I need to have a better head. I literally went home to my mom's and I prepped with my mom. And I wasn't let anything to distract me, so I worked and I prepped over at my mom's Coos Bay, Oregon, jumped on the plane, went to Vegas and flew in by myself. And that's when I did the nutshell routine. And that's when she said, better, no, but next time we come a little crisper. But I was awarded because I did my job right. And so even though it wasn't a champion, but it was a little bit, so that was what was important, is that when you don't place well, don't go cursing on Instagram or Facebook or wherever. Stop. And I think now you can email them and they will email you back, because I've had athletes tell me, could you help me? I wrote to Sandy Williamson. She handed it to Tyler Mannion. He got back to me, Sheila, this is what your girl needs to do. Okay. I handed it to Keisha. There you go. Focus on that in the off season. Let's do this. Okay. Don't get mad. I had better hamstrings than her. Stop. Grab a photo. Put yourself next to this person. Was it there or was it not? Okay, so people just kind of be a little more accountable when it comes to that. I was. No, it doesn't feel good. We all want to win. But, anyway, communicate with your judges.
And your coaches.
Yeah. Yeah, some coaches will not respond to their clients and they'll hit me up. I was posing and doing routines for a lot of women. They're like, I don't know, I haven't really heard him. He said it was okay, this and that. And I'm sitting there going, my God, you're 3 weeks out and you look 6 weeks out. But I didn't say anything because she didn't hire me for that. She hired me for routines. Very hard, So I think some coaches get way too many people, and because they base their entire income off the athletes instead of having a real day job and just doing it as a side hobby. I only do it as a side hobby. So therefore I can say no, and I don't have the time. No, I can't do a routine. I'm going to hand you to Janine or go see Sammy LaFleur or somebody else. There's plenty of people that do it.
Right.
If you can't do it 100% for an athlete, quit taking their damn money. And ladies, gentlemen, stop being so desperate and thinking that this guy's the only king, because he's not. When you have somebody that has maybe 20 people and he can at least give you a few sentences, or, hey, bro, do this and this and this, check in 5 more days, okay? So you have this time to that time to bring me results. See me in 5 days. Send me, WhatsApp, whatever. But be present for the athlete. And athletes, stop thinking you need your hand held, because nobody held our fucking hands in that time. I had to go on a payphone to have 5 words, get your ass over here. Click. I went over there. You think somebody's looking at my diet? You think somebody's looking at my supplements? No, that was my job. That was my job. It was my job to make sure I'd pose. It was my job that I got my choreography done, my music done. It wasn't Jake's. It wasn't Shane's. It wasn't Dr. David Boyer. It wasn't fucking Dave Plumbo or John Romano. It wasn't their problem. That was mine. They're spotting you. They're saying, Sheila, stop doing that and do this. Okay, run. Go do your thing. But you don't need to give them a whole life story. People want to wear diapers and a pacifier these days. It's pathetic. Sorry. It's just,
no, I'm the same. If someone's not 100% in,
yeah,
I won't work with them.
Why? Even though we're being paid, it bleeds our adrenaline. It bleeds out my.
Like for me, it's not my. Like you said, I have a business.
Yeah.
This is side money. It's
Yeah.
not. It's not. I'm not dependent on this, and I never want to be.
No, they ask you. They brought you in. I'm like, okay, yeah, okay, I can fit this in. I can do this. And once more people start becoming more posing teachers or whatever, less people were kind of coming around, which is fine because I was kind of slowly transitioning to my next phase. I never even thought I'd be doing routines, but it was during COVID when it happened. The girls were emailing me, "Hey Sheila, can I hire you for posing?" I'm like, I didn't even know how to price myself. I didn't even know what was a good price. And then I was talking to Janine 2 months ago about prices. I said, listen, I do like, 5 sessions for, uh, it's about 350. She's like, "Oh my God, Sheila," I went, "What?" Because I said, "They have to see me once a week. I said, maybe, single sessions, 80, 85. And she goes, "No, Sheila, this is the prices." I'm like, oh, so many people got great routines. But, the thing is, I felt fine because I had a regular job, right?
Right.
So I didn't notice. And then she tells me, and I'm sorry, folks, anybody that's making you pay $200 for 30 minutes for basic posing and quarter turns, that is on you. Straight up on you. Wow. I couldn't believe it. Unreal. $200 for 30 minutes. I don't care if you think you're walking the red carpet. You just basically just rated that person.
Well, I didn't even know people were charging that.
Yeah. Some chick, I guess, in the sport. I'm like, who's ever dumb enough to do that? On you, your fault. Duh. Who would, you know, um, the choreography part, it's because I enjoy it so much and I love it. And a lot of the women that come my way, I've had so much fun with all of them, and just a lot of fun. So I didn't feel like I was bleeding. But what was starting to happen to me was I was getting too much music coming my way,
Mhm.
and too many different girls and too many different routines. I started getting anxiety. I was like, "What's wrong with me, man?" I'm like, I'm like, "Whoa, I can't breathe. I'm starting to get panic here." And this girl's like, Sheila, I gotta, like, I would feel them. And I'm like, okay, everybody's panicking. But every woman that ever went through me, their performance is spot on great. But I realized I couldn't handle more than 10 songs a month. Because if you're thinking about, I have each of those girls for 5 weeks. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna see her again. This is the song. This is where we stopped her here. Because I do segments, 30 seconds, or maybe 40, depending on how much the woman or male could grasp and remember. And then we can move on to the next segment and the next segment. That's why I do the 3 sessions and 5 sessions.
I think a lot of people don't realize how much effort you put into a person for a contest prep.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that it becomes a point where it's not just about the money,
Mm-mm.
because you actually, well, and I shouldn't say, let me back up on what I'm going to say. There are so many of these coaches that suck
Mm-hmm.
and they don't know anything, and they give the same cookie cutter diet
Oh,
plan to every single one of their athletes.
right.
And I've seen this
Yeah.
I'll straight out say it. There was something called Team Edge,
Right.
where this one lady, I think I don't know if she's bikini or fitness, whatever she is. But her husband, who is an overweight guy, is the one that actually does the meal plans
Wow.
for the girls. And there was two girls that one girl was about 5'7" and probably 170 pounds and pretty overweight. The other girl's like 5'4" and 130 pounds and fairly lean. And they had the same identical diet. They showed it to me. It was identical. And I'm like, okay, so you basically made this diet, you just hand it to everybody.
Yeah.
No efforts going into this.
Yeah, I seen that too. And no offense, Tim Gardner, but he used to have the same kind of thing for Tampa, for his Tampa team. They have the same thing. But yeah, you can give somebody the same foods, but the ounces are going to be different.
Right.
You need to know that.
Different body composition.
Exactly. I I was doing a woman's diet, and she says, "Sheila, I'm 90 kilo. Da da da." And I'm like, okay, she's about 200 pounds. Okay. Thought she was my height. I've seen her in webcam. We've done routines. I'm like, because she's usually really lean. I'm like, this is weird. So I sent her days, and she was doing it for a couple of days. I said, Maria, been quiet. How are you? She goes, 80 grams of carbs are really low for me. It's like, contest prep time. I'm all, huh? And I said, I'm calling you right now. She goes, I'm 6 foot tall. That would have been great to know at the beginning. Totally revamped that diet. How to back up to 150 grams of carbs. I had 200, 150, I was like, oh my gosh. So that kind of helps too, guys, if you tell the person how tall you are. I was going off of my height.
Well, I know for myself, if I'm going to do a contest prep, because I kind of take it like their placing, or at least how they look on stage, is a reflection of me.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to prep somebody and they're going to go up there looking like crap.
No, I honestly, I've only prepped a couple ladies for the stage. It's not something I'm comfortable with, because I get too emotionally. I can feel them. Jennifer Falcinto, Faccinto, she was my first, and she was posing with me, very pretty, like an Anna Langer back in the '80s. That's who she reminded me of. And I asked her her coach was. She told me, and I said, "Do you check in with him?" She goes, "Mm-hmm." I said, "Well, what does he say?" She goes, "Nothing." I said, "Okay, but Jen, you're 5 weeks out." And then I saw her 3 weeks out, and she looked the same. And I'm thinking, this woman doesn't deserve this. She does not deserve this. And she was second or third call out at her show, wasn't even looked at. And so I sent her an email. I said, "I never do this." And I said, "But this is the deal. It's how much I'll charge a month. And I pray that you hire me because I know that I could bring in your conditioning and you're getting a trophy in the IFBB." "Thank you, Sheila." Da, 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 da. Honestly, I didn't think she'd come. In January, "I'm ready." Made the deposit. I'm all, "Oh, okay." So I sent her the Q&A. She sent me her how she ate and her height and weight, the show she wanted to do. So I analyzed it and we went off. I can almost feel her. We were spot on. She makes it to the St. Louis show. She gets her third place trophy and she's just the happiest woman ever. I said, "Now that right there." And it was a true physique at the time. It was true physique. And we went and did it again. She trophied again. But when she would do the bigger shows, she wouldn't trophy. She'd be on second call out. She goes, "You know what, Sheila? I'm a happy woman." I had no idea I'd even make it this far in the sport. But she was so pretty. And see, her beauty mattered to me. So I made sure, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Maria was the same way. Her beauty matters to me. Keisha Oliver, her beauty matters to me. They all came in shape and they've all trophied. Okay. And that was very important to me. So no, they didn't crown, they didn't get the first place, but they trophied. So they went from, except for Keisha. Keisha keeps taking fourth. Why is this? And it's funny, it's a size thing. Her conditioning was really conditioned, but she needs to be, for bodybuilding, she's a little bit more size.
Right.
And, but on that, but I told her, I said, "You're taking top four at your title shows. That's not a thing to sneeze at. You're being noticed." So it is important when you're seeing yourself coming up. Everybody else would like to have that. I know that feeling, especially from nationals, from not being that top five. You're just wondering, when am I going to look like that? When they're going to want me? When am I going to do right? But then if you make it, when you're getting that medal, and then the nationals are going, okay, now we're getting closer. And in the
Right.
IFBB, if you're not getting that crown right away, but you're working your way up, because those judges are going, all right, she's pulling that condition. Oh, she brought up her hams. Okay, now she just got third. Patience. It is a patience game. Don't rush it. Enjoy that journey and watch yourself develop. So, but that's why I don't want to take on a lot of people. I want to feel my women. I want to feel them. And so while I'm working and they check in, I get to go there and they're happy. And then I'm happy. So it's a good feeling. If I had 20 people and I couldn't feel that, that scares me. I can do 20 routines, but not 20 diets. I'll leave that to somebody else who thinks they're just that's their whole life doing that. Go ahead, knock yourself
Right.
out. But and Dave, I wish I could take a page from Dave Plumba's page because he's very quick. "Yeah, I do this and this." "Hey Dave, I was doing this. Yeah, you look great, but you need to do this and this." Me, I'm like this. "Okay, sweetheart, this is what we're gonna do." I'm like, I finesse everything, and then the ladies finesse it back. So maybe that's why they stay with me
Right.
because other guys are like, "Man, I got 20 women after you. Hurry up, chick." I don't know, but
Well, I think it's just from years of experience in the sport and just seeing things.
yeah,
I mean, I can, just like Dave, I can look at something and see,
real quick,
okay, we need to fix this.
right,
And this is the first thing that I see.
right.
I don't have to, it may not be the answer, but usually I can figure it out pretty quick.
I find men stuff is too hard for me. I don't understand all the PEDs. I don't, because I'm so basic and vanilla from back in the day that I could help a guy get going, But if he wants to go further, I push him to men like you and Dave. Listen, go to them because you guys know your calorie intake, the output. You guys know everything about that. I
Right.
am not a man. I never experienced half the stuff you guys have. So, but being a female, I compete as a natural. I compete with the PDs. I have both sides. So I've done carb cycling. I've done keto. I've sped up my metabolism when it tanked. I've helped women that were pregnant and they totally ruined their metabolisms. I probably worked with more women that didn't compete that have. And I like changing people's lives because it's such a nightmare that you're constantly in this prison of food and you don't know what to eat and you don't know how to do it. And everybody went to Jenny Craig or that stupid calculator on their damn phone or, well, I had so-and-so's program. You don't need a program. You need a grocery store, a refrigerator, a stove, and Tupperware. That's what you need. Be in control and show them how. Once she does, boom, they're free. Thank you. You know, um, Things just happen differently when we get older.
Right.
And you can't. It just happens. Women have babies. They get grandmas. They put everybody ahead of themselves last. So I really like helping women like that because they'll hit me up. Sheila, is this gonna be hard? Nope. I'll do the brain work. You just copy it, apply it, check in every 4th, 5th day. You know, boom. Yeah, people just need to see a way.
But there is a thing that, just your experience and
Hmm.
years and years of doing it, you can just see something and like I've seen this 1,000 times before.
Okay.
And so I can look at somebody and, easily just tweak something
Yeah.
because I've seen it over and over and over
Or like
again.
when the scale doesn't budge and they keep doing all this cardio, like, Sheila, I don't understand. Well, you got to shock the system.
Right.
Yeah. And so there was that. And I remember when Dave's like, Sheila, we got to feed you a bunch of carbs. I'm like, no. And he's like, Sheila, I'm telling you right now, I need you to eat carbs and don't do cardio. I need you to sleep. And when I allowed him to reset me, boom, there we go, 3 pounds 2 days later.
Right.
And they'll be all happy. Okay, there it goes. I feel so much happier. But it's just weird when you keep doing the same thing, you start stressing the body, the cortisol increases and nothing happens. You hit that wall. And you
Your
start getting
body,
angry. Yeah, I would get angry.
your
Dude,
body tries to adapt.
yeah. So you have to da 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 da. So yeah, when a female will say that, Sheila, I think my menstrual's coming. I think this was happening. Well, hold on. Don't panic. I'll call them, share some experience. It's funny if I can just kind of ease them a little bit. Let's do this change. Hit me up in 48 hours. You got 48 hours. Okay, I'm on it. It seemed like if I did that to him, I'm gonna give you space, 48 hours, but I need you to call me back. Tell me what happened. All right, Sheila, I'm fine. I need to talk to you. See? Yeah, it's just a little bit of that sometimes helps a person and just make that small change. It's amazing. And I was always shocked when Dave would just give me a small change. And sometimes all I needed was to hear his voice. 3 minutes. That's all I need. Okay, I got it. Bye. Love you. Bye. I'm gonna make you happy. I'm gonna make you proud. And that's your high, and that becomes their high, and they want to make you happy and proud. So it's an interesting journey. It's cool. It's really cool.
Yeah. From the coaching, if I have someone's like really committed
Hmm.
and I'm a micromanager, I need to manage everything,
Yeah.
like literally every detail, their training, their eating, their
Yep.
PDs, I need, because it all goes together.
It does. And here's the other thing. When you're telling me you're doing your cardio, how are you doing your cardio? Are you going like this?
Right.
Okay. Is there a little with intent there? I need to know you're pulling the sweat off. We're not asking them to go sprint. It's not that kind of cardio. It's that slow burn,
Right.
right? And how you're training. Are you just sitting there and then you're going for your set? All right, going for your set. Or are you going for your fucking set? Drop
Right.
it, drop set, going in doing your lat. Are you there? Are you present? What's your character going into this? When somebody's like, oh, so this isn't really changing. Impossible. Impossible. Sometimes you have to make things work. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you gotta dig deep.
I had a friend of mine who is an IFBB judge. She, from time to time, brings me competitors, and she brought me this guy, and we did his DEXA scan, and he needed to drop 30 pounds, and he wanted to compete in a contest that was, I want to say it was 8 weeks out. And I just told him flat out, there's just no way. It's
Too much.
It's 30 pounds in 8 weeks. It's like, it's not possible. And she goes, well, there's this show and it's 12 weeks out.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's still 30 pounds in 12 weeks. That's a lot. And she goes, well, we have to do this because we've already, committed and bought they literally already signed up for the show and everything, right?
Yeah.
They came to me afterwards.
I think you can do it in 12 weeks. I do find it possible. I've seen
Yeah,
it.
so I'm
I've
like-
seen it.
I'm like, okay, so we're going to have to get real serious here real fast. And we did. And he came in condition.
It's awesome.
But I had to put the pedal to the metal and
Right away.
push him like
Yeah.
harder than he's ever been.
For myself, there was times that I'd be about 30 pounds over my competition weight, and I wouldn't say anything to my coach, so I was purposely start getting into gear a couple weeks ahead. Okay, I'm ready. It's getting that, making sure you're not skipping meals, because I could actually slow down my metabolism where I was eating 3 big meals. I kind of got love handles going on. Tatas are kind of coming back, and you're feeling a little miserable, going, I need to get ready for my show. I need to clean this up. No more nachos at night. Okay. And then I get rid of it. And all of a sudden I drop 5 pounds. Well, okay, I'm feeling more good. And then I'm like, okay, I'm ready. All right, let's see you. Oh, shit. This is why I started 14 weeks out, not 12. But eventually when I started really, that's only actually happened me a couple of times, but I'm glad I lived it to be able to know it, so that when I have a female saying, I'm a little bit more off season than usual. So we'll start 16 weeks out. Just not hardcore. We'll get you going, coast you in, and then we'll boom, nail it at 12 weeks. Sounds good, Sheila. When I tell them that, I've been there before. I've started plenty of times 14 weeks out. We just start slow and then boom, so. But yeah, if you're 30 pounds, 40 pounds over, guys, start about 14 weeks out. When you're the normal person like myself, 20 pounds over, 12 weeks is perfect. We were always ready 2 to 3 weeks out. Dave only had to do little things going in,
Right.
So I didn't have that stress. When it came to the IFBB, that's when my attitude really changed. You sign that contract, you are locked in. There is no out unless you have a doctor, and you better not be fooling.
Right.
Don't play games. It's a contracted job. So yeah, so I was always nervous. I would get so ahead of the game before I would sign that damn contract, because I was afraid to sign it first and then get serious. No, Sheila got serious, very serious, and then I'd sign it. Right.
Well, that's your job. That's your career at that
Yeah,
point.
I never wanted to screw up. I wanted to make sure everything was perfect. Mary Christine did my suits. Dave Paloma was doing my prep. I did everything else. That was my team for over a decade, for like 15. Oh my God, a long time.
Well, it was a winning formula, obviously.
Yeah, trust me, there was other people that knocked my door out. You should have me for a coach. No, Dave already puts up with me. I'm just gonna put that out there. Dave likes Clint. I like Ephedra. I unlocked this email and I'm like, wow, this is an old email between me and Plumbo. And he's prepping me for the first time because Ramona moved on. Plumbo jumps in 2011. I'm like, no, I hate Clint. It pisses me off. Da 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 da. I like Ephedra. And he's like, anyway, Sheila, you look good. And you can see him going, oh God, I'm not gonna deal with that. And then the next check-in, okay, up your Clint a little bit. I'm like, oh, he forgot. I'm gonna up my Fedra a little bit. I hate Clint. Every email, I hate Clint. And then I see him at the national, or at Olympia, and we were shredded. I was almost too shredded because I don't know if he was used to people that cheated, but he had me on a protein veggie diet. Because I was dieting myself, but I was over dieting and over stressing it. I'm getting ready for Olympia. I'm scared. I'm by myself. And I think I contacted him 8 weeks out, and he's all, I'm so glad you didn't wait. And he was my diet. And I'd never seen myself pop around like that. And I still found the images. Wow, it looked amazing. I was just so happy that I called him, because he was part of my life from that point on. I was just so happy. But I called somebody I was afraid of. I was very afraid. I was intimidated by him. Horribly. But I think that also helps with your respect. You don't want to disappoint that person. You see how they look, their conditioning, they're always apart, their intelligence, the amount of people they've worked with. So I don't understand why you would hire somebody that's been that level for a long time and then just be a pansy ass. I don't know how anybody can do that. I don't want to be remembered as that kind of athlete. Dave will always pick up the phone when I call him, because I never abused it. Ever. I've never abused the relationship. So.
So I think we're about probably, I don't know how many hours a day
I don't know.
we are. How can people get in contact with you?
Well, they have no problem of reaching through to you in Instagram, but I will not have that forever.
Mhm.
And so usually my email is ivorypro Sheila SheilABleck @gmail.com. I prefer emails. I really don't like it when people hit me up on Instagram because it's in that requested area,
Right.
mixed in with the fans, mixed in with the dick photos,
Sometimes
and
I don't even see it.
yeah, but the thing is that us females end up having all the slum emails from
Oh,
fans. You got good fans, they can be respectful, but you all have this other junk. And this is me. I'm so burned out. I'm burned out. Send me an email. Be correct, please. It's more
right,
professional. You think I send messages to Dave Palumbo on Instagram? Mm-mm. If I have something to say to him, I'm gonna email him.
right.
Or I send him a nasty. No, I was joking. I don't send him out the nasty. I can call him on WhatsApp, but just send the people emails. And when you have time, which when I have time, I have never ignored anybody ever, unless it's a garbage. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but that's how.
Well, we've covered a lot of material today. Um, I think we got a lot of really good content. So it was a great interview, and I really appreciate you coming.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Uh,
And so this is Larry Pollock again, Underground Performance Gym, Ventura, California, with Sheila Bleck. We're going to sign out now. If you have questions, of course, put them in the comments. Don't forget to like, tag the video, and so we can know what it is that you do like, and we can keep bringing you more quality content.
okay.
All right, it's all right.